My sister's birthday, by the way. Happy birthday, Barb. Item number 1, additions or adjustments? Comments to the agenda?
I was gonna say we could maybe table the events committee follow-up item number 18. We haven't invited anybody to participate in the discussion, so might as well hold that off till next meeting.
Okay, good point. Comments? Everybody okay with
Would
it?
you like to discuss, going to one meeting a month? Under this one or a little later? There's select board issues or concerns. Your
Because
pick,
our meetings aren't long enough for you?
your pick.
I guess I'd like to sound people, yeah, we can talk about it tonight, sure. Put it in number 18.
Good, thank you.
All right. All right, review of invoices and orders underway. Public comments and public announcements. Hearing none. We'll go on to select board updates and their concerns. I have 2. One, I'd like to say thank you to Charles and Morna for conceiving of and pulling off the Blueberry Fest, and a giant thank you to all their volunteers and artists and whatnot. It was great fun, good success, nice turnout, and it took a hell of a lot of work. So just a really thank you to everybody involved. Also a reminder to the board that we have a meeting on Wednesday for interviews, 6 o'clock. Any others?
Just the second and third and fourth, what you said about the Blueberry Festival.
I agree.
Here.
It's great.
It
Where
was
do,
great.
where do we stand on paving project this summer? We're like excessively deep, but when we want to have it paved by,
Ryan right now is working on Sinclair Road, and we're still waiting to hear from V-Trans on our $200,000 paving grant. We
Is
can't get
that-
started until we get notified.
okay, for the class 2 paving, right?
Yeah.
And that's Wilson Road.
We'll-
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But we might not pave this summer, but
I'll reach out to John Wilkin and try to get an update as to when I'm gonna be notified.
okay. The other thing that I had was in regards to the library project. Your reports on Friday are awesome, John. And this past Friday, the library's done a great job at fundraising. We're not quite in the black on that project yet, but closing the gap quickly. There was a comment, meeting with a structural engineer on August 4th to sign off on changes made, and the town will incur additional costs. I'm curious what and why on that. And also the report that Brian sent you. I just don't know if this is a miscommunication because of the levels. But there was a question about, are we going with concrete or granite for the stairs out front? I believe when we were here with the library, we said we need to know what it would cost.
Right.
Right.
Obviously no answer, but the contractor is asking questions. I don't know how to,
John, I spoke about
Proceed.
the costs a little bit earlier tonight, and I asked him to follow up with Kelly and the library board and the funders to see. Remember, she said there's money coming to them, they just don't know exactly how much yet. So
right,
we need to know that number so we can tell Brian.
we need to know what the cost for the addition is.
Right. Now, as I understand it, the granite we're talking about is not solid granite steps, it's granite
Yes, slices.
sheets or pads or whatever on concrete. Is that what everybody else is envisioning?
When I think of granite steps, I think of granite steps.
Meaning solid granite, top to bottom.
Well, no,
Or it could be on
Really, yeah.
concrete. There's no question, yeah, you could do that, but you have to have your face all granite.
Yeah,
The base could be concrete naturally.
okay, so what's in the electric plan, there's a concrete base with granite on top.
Yeah, all of, everything that is shown would be granite, just like any other granite steps.
Okay, I just want to make sure that's what everybody's envisioning, because that surprised me a little bit. But yeah, we need to know what that will cost and how much money there is before we can say
Right.
yes.
And what are we getting for a structural change?
You mentioned something about some change orders, you said?
I mean, it's in the report that comes out on Friday, which the contractor's been great about communicating with us through John.
I-
And it just says, they'll be meeting with a structural engineer on August 4th to sign off on the changes made. This will be an additional cost for the town to cover.
Why?
I think this goes back, way back. Before really any construction was started, and the original engineer had designed the floor for the addition a certain way. The trusses were a certain way. Trusses, no, the floor. And we parted ways with that engineer. And we need an engineer to sign off on the current state of the floor. We can't ask them. So this is a different engineer
So
coming
it's
in.
just gonna be engineering costs that we'll receive.
So it's not a full change, it's a additional review.
Yeah, it's the engineer's inspection of the floor as it exists now.
Okay,
Shouldn't that have all been worked out before we went out to bid?
If you want to go that far back, that's fine. but-
yeah, we don't need to nitpick this out. Could we just get some clarity
Yeah,
on what
yeah.
that will be?
We'll save the nitpicking for later. How's
Okay,
that?
thanks for bringing that up, Evan. Those are two good questions. Any others? You Chad?
I'm good.
Okay. Okay, consent agenda. Consider approving the minutes for July 20th.
Second,
We move second. Any comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstained?
Hey, good, aye.
Okay, the ayes have it. Next item is clerk and treasurer's report. Lydia, over to you.
Okay, for clerk business, primaries are on August 11th, next Tuesday. Susan and I have been preparing for those. The office will be closed as the elections from 9 AM to 7 PM, and we will see you all there. And as in preparation for that, we did tabulator training on July 24th, which 3 justices of the peace came for tabulator testing, actually not necessarily training. And that went great. For treasurer, you have previous year and current year budget status reports. The previous year, the year has been closed, but Rosemary indicated that there are still a few more entries that need to be made, which we'll be working on this week with her on Thursday. And current year, not a ton to report on yet. Taxes have been flowing in nicely, so that's good. I'd say more than not, folks have been paying the whole year so far. And we have some money coming in. There's $5,000 that's coming for the library. So they're close to being in the black, close-ish. I don't have final numbers on that.
Where's the 5,000 coming from?
It was I'm not sure if it was an anonymous donation or not. I can look into that and let you
It
know.
was a
if
donation.
Yes,
Not- okay,
yes.
Okay.
We got a reimbursement for $18,000 for Holmes Meadow. LCPC had thought that that was their last reimbursement request, but it looks like they may have one more, so we'll wait to hear on that. We talked at last meeting about the buyout properties and the education tax for the buyouts that closed after April 1st. The town is responsible for that education tax.
and we won't receive any reimbursement through the state grant.
We will for the municipal. Last year, we received it on December 15th. It was $747. I did not look and see who that was for, but it is 100% for the first 5 years, 50% for the next 5, but only for municipal portion, which is like 25% of the tax bill.
So the school can pound sand.
That is not my-
So we're gonna get a bill of,
So we've gotten,
we have
yeah,
to eat what? $4, $5, $6,000?
yeah.
That's kind of the,
Yeah,
Uh,
School, I don't know.
Sort of what we expected. Anything else?
yes.
Okay.
We've received more opioid money. We have about $1,500 worth. The last time it was split between Jenna's Promise and North Central Vermont Recovery Center. I don't know if there's more to expect. I'm not sure how often they're coming in. We've already sent, well, we had sent prior income in April to those two places. The board can decide where to send, and if you want me to split this in half again and send it to the next two places or not. Doesn't have to be decided tonight. We hung on to the money for a while last time as it was rolling in.
Can we ask, I thought I had heard a long time ago there was quite a bit more money to be coming in, but nobody knew when. Is that?
I would not say that $1,500 is quite a bit, so.
No, I wouldn't either.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
maybe
wondering.
there's
Is there
more.
More we should wait for.
We have just got, I've only gotten emails telling us to expect this amount from this. They're from CVS, Teva and Allergan. I don't know if they're pharmaceutical companies that are sending the money.
They gave us a number at the beginning of this process. I didn't know it'd be
We
split
had
up like
a number
this.
for the original settlement, but then
Yeah.
more settlements to,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't think we ever had a phone number.
The money we sent out in April had started coming in the fall of 25, so we can wait. I mean, or I can send it. It's
Okay, let's see if we can figure out who to ask at the state, just,
for how much is. what to
yeah,
expect.
or what the timing might be.
Okay.
Because it doesn't make sense to hand out in dribs and drabs. We don't have to.
Mhm.
Also, when we come back to that topic, I think, didn't you have an idea or someone had an idea of you had an idea?
Yeah, I'd
That needs-
suggested we talk to the schools and see if some of it could be spent on prevention rather
Yeah, I like
than,
that idea.
and I'd still like to do that if there's enough money to be had.
Mhm.
Okay. Jim Barlow, the tax attorney, sent out the first notices. They're not really notices, they're kind of just like demand letters for the first round of taxes. There were 17 of them. I've gotten 4 agreements so far, so not great. He gave them a deadline of next week when interest will be due again on the 10th. And I think the last thing is kind of big, but it's about the audit. What we want to do about the audit. Our HR had sent their cost for 2-year pricing if we decided to retain them for 2 years, or 1-year pricing. The difference was $670. So not a huge savings to go with 2 years. We do have to nail that down soon though.
We should go out to bid.
Is it? What is soon? Is it
I-
tonight?
Like before I would say before the end of the year, but I'd like it sooner.
For the end of the fiscal year, we got like 11 months.
No,
I mean, to answer that, I think we should go out to bid.
RHR is expecting follow-up from me tomorrow. And it doesn't seem like a lot of other companies are doing municipal audits right now. RHR is definitely the big dog. So I don't know.
They've been good to work with, correct?
Yeah, they're fine.
What kind of dollars are we talking about?
So if we did a 2-year retainer for them, fiscal year 26 would be 23,700. And then fiscal year 27 would be 26,200. So $50,000. If we just did 1 year, it's 24,370. So it's about $670 less to retain them for 2 then.
How much is left in our audit reserve?
Not a ton, 11,000.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of thin.
Rosemary took about 20 last year. And we're definitely not budgeting enough for,
I know.
Yeah. Well, I agree with Evan, that's considerably over our RFP limit, so I think we should go out to bid.
Okay.
Just. Any?
I would expect them
concerns?
to submit a bid.
I would like to tell Amadi that we are going to bid it. Hopefully she will submit some.
Yeah,
Amity
tell them we're
is-
bound by our procurement policy. We need to. It's not that we're slighting them in any way, but
Sure.
just. Board okay with that?
And if we do the bid process, I think we should try to do what we did last time. which was we went out for a 3-year bid of single year installments, because we can't sign a contract to buy in a future select board. But we can sign a contract that automatically renews without termination. Notice,
Might me to keep my eye on this guy.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
well, I mean, we went out in, was it 2022? With the village jointly
Mhm.
for a 3-year audit service, and there was a clause that the boards could claw out of. We're past the 3 years, and they overbilled us every year. Based on their bid. So. There's that.
Okay.
Last year. Do we have, what, 200,000 and change in cash on hand?
No, at the end of this fiscal year, FY 25,
Yeah,
we had,
total expenses were 3.49. Total income was somewhere in here.
3.6, yeah,
Yeah.
good. I was thinking more like 180.
Yeah, 3.6, it's I guess it's about 180. But there's more expenses here.
I'm on, yes. That's what Rosemary said, there's still some things that need to be drawn.
And period 1, why does it show actual taxes received of negative 6.4 million?
The school gives us their bill around
Hmm.
November, and then that money, the school money will be moved into a liability account. So that will look closer when we get that will look more accurate when we get our bill from the school.
Good answer.
Thank you.
That's good.
See big negative numbers is always kind of scary.
3 times our budget.
Well, and it's kind of wrong because it's not negative. It's just the budget number,
Just seeing $6 million anywhere in this paperwork,
Sure.
I think you go, why?
I think that's all I've got.
All right, thank you. Nicely
Thank
done.
you.
When can we expect last year closed out?
Rosemary's coming on Thursday. We do have a meeting with the library on Thursday with Mark, from the state.
And do you know if all of these are with our proposed reservations included?
At the end of last year.
Yeah,
Most of the reserve ones have been funded, but some have not, and I don't know which ones have and have not. But we're gonna work on that.
Yeah, that's a really good question. We should identify those.
Yeah.
Okay. Great, thanks, Lydia.
Thank you.
You can escape.
Have a good evening.
You too.
All
Thank you very
right,
much.
You're welcome.
next item up, we're into the work session now, and we have Tosh Wallace from LCPC here to talk about their services and how they can help us in many, many ways. Please,
Oh, yeah.
so in case anybody's listening in.
You can bring out a little light if you want.
It's an interesting antique. I
Yeah,
didn't-
Feel like you're on the spot now?
Yeah, well, thanks.
Some kind of military. doesn't it?
It does. That's what I was thinking. Well, thank you all so much for having me. I appreciate it. As you know, it's the beginning of the fiscal year, and every couple of years I try and take the time to come and visit with all the select boards and trustees and really just talk about our services. Make sure that we're helping you in all the ways that we can, and check if there's any projects or ideas that you have that we haven't talked about. As the chair did say, there is a lot going on in Johnson and we're involved with a lot of things. And I want to make sure that, just that we are responsive and helpful, and also talk about this big grant that we have for the next 4 years to assist the community. But I wanted to start by talking about some of the stuff we're working on. The buyouts. We are providing assistance to the community as requested. And I read a very interesting piece. It was in VT Digger, VPR yesterday about a controversy in Barry about community use of the properties after the buyouts. And I thought it was very interesting because it really highlighted how much interest community members do have in the use of these properties that have replaced homes. I think you, and you're also involved in a lot of different projects like the recreation grant with the EPA. And I know that you've got a number of buyouts, but I want to remind you that, and we can come visit again, that a number of the buyouts, the Union Bank, the health center, and 2 properties on Westcombe Road, the modeling has demonstrated that those properties would be super useful to the community if used for flood mitigation and flood management. So I would encourage you to look to that use first for those properties, because I think it can really make a difference to the community. The Sterling Market, I think that's a lot more wide open. There are a lot of FEMA constraints, but using that as open space for a park or a field or whatever, we're really happy to work with you on those projects going forward. I think you all know that some of these buyout properties are going through or will go through a brownfields assessment process. That's important to determine what is and isn't there. Sometimes there's perceived contamination and sometimes there's real contamination. And the contamination, you know, may have happened over very many years, but it's an important process to be able to reuse those properties. And you'll be working with both us, and there's a funny thing where one of the other RPCs got a bunch of money for brownfields working with buyout properties, so we're just trying to coordinate the best we can with them. Okay. And then we have, I also, before I go further, I noticed that the buyouts are on the agenda at the very end, and I wasn't sure if there are any issues that you wanted me to address relative to that, since it's at the very end, and I'll probably be.
No, that part is just for whole business in case a topic comes up.
Okay.
Besides to discuss it.
Okay, because I note that you have the gravel pit listed as well. And I just want to note that working with A&R on getting that pit designated as a facility is very important to the future success of a lot of your projects, because you're going to need to have a place to move some of your earth that's removed, especially for the flood mitigation projects.
We haven't, as a board, decided we're going to pursue that, but that is certainly under consideration.
Yes, yes.
Just to be clear,
Yeah.
We gave.
we gave permission to do the
go
initial
ahead
testing.
at tabletop
Yeah.
exercise or something.
Yeah, and it is up to the community. You're absolutely right. I know it was an idea that we actually resisted at first as well. We spent a lot of time arguing with the Agency of Natural Resources. It was hard to understand why you could put some of the soil on a school property or at a library, but not in the gravel pit. And, you know, that frustration. That said, it's become, I would like you to give that option serious consideration. You wouldn't be required to take soil from other communities, but really look at it and analyze how it would fit into your other projects that you have going on.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
And then also I wanted to talk about, there was in your packet, there's just 2 pages. We tried to simplify it to start. So LCPC received a $1 million planning grant through CDBG disaster recovery to work with communities on flood restoration and mitigation planning. And there's several components. You'll see component 1, which is mitigation planning and project development. Johnson's listed here twice relative to the Guyan River and the Lamoille River. everything that we put in the application was based on conversations we've had with the community today. It's really, all of this is gonna be about working with you to identify the solutions that you want and that work for your community. There'll also be a critical facilities and service planning and project development and community adaptation planning and project development. And some of this activity could be pretty broad. You know, if you wanted to look at your form-based code relative to flood mitigation or building away from the river or any number of things. It really, I think, opens the door to have some really interesting conversations at the planning commission and at the select board about these things. And we're really just here to help support you on this. I know Melissa Manga's gonna come see you. And one of the things that we'd really like to see is a joint meeting with the trustees, just so that we're clear that the projects and process that we proceed with is something that all of you want. You may not all want the same things as the trustees, but we don't want to be in a position where you're telling us to do opposite things.
Right.
That makes
Makes
perfect
sense.
sense.
Yes. And we're really happy to facilitate with the work as well. And we also got a note today from Carl about the recreation grant, and the planning process is going to take place on the 27th and 28th. So Tori will be there for the recreation component, but we're going to send Seth for the 2 days as well because of his broad planning knowledge and bringing in some of those other elements in terms of history of planning with the community.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. That'll be very helpful.
Yeah,
Nice to have both of them there.
I'm always trying to stump him on planning things and haven't found that thing yet. So, but I do want to ask, just, you know, customer service, so are we doing okay? Are there things that we could do better? I know you've got a lot going on and.
Well, speaking for myself, I'd say LCPC and every one of your staff members, you guys have been extraordinarily helpful. It's really, really beneficial to just bounce things off Seth or Tori or Melissa just casually, or to invite them to a planning commission meeting, for example. I know Seth has been talking to Jesse, had kind of a three-way conversation about form-based code and flood hazard bylaws and how that ties into your grant. So yeah, we're very impressed and grateful.
Great, okay, I'll go home now.
Yeah.
Are you open for questions now?
Oh, absolutely, like,
I'd
absolutely.
like to get on the record about this brownfield business.
Sure.
Can you expound upon the whole process?
Sure, are there particular elements of it you're?
Well,
interested in?
I hear talk around town about cleaning up properties for people to receive a check. So is some grant of the government going to clean up these hazardous waste before a check is given to these property owners?
So, in this case, the brownfields work is to look at what's there and how it can be cleaned up so that the community can proceed with its priorities. So the buyout to the property owner is the buyout. The brownfields will pay for assessment. We don't have cleanup funds, but possibly pay for cleanup funds. But it's important first we find out what's there.
So are you saying that the property owner is not responsible for the mess?
Well, what's interesting about this, and this is a federally designed program, and the idea is to assist communities by doing assessment and cleanup. And once the property is cleaned up, then the former owner is no longer liable. It's been a really effective tool in redeveloping communities. Because you find locations where you have an old industrial use. For instance, the old MSI building, I mean, one of the MSI buildings in Morrisville was an old industrial property that was where we did an assessment and cleanup, and then it was able to be reused, and that has become an important economic engine in Morrisville.
So people have bought properties, probably knowing full well they might have been hazardous material on that site. And then they're gonna get somebody to clean up that mess that they actually are responsible for and receive a check from the taxpayers.
Well, they will receive a check for the determined buyout amount. So are you asking if they're gonna get additional funds, or are you
No,
feeling like?
they're gonna deduct, let's say, if they're gonna get 400,000, it's gonna be 400,000 to clean up the mess. So are they not gonna get a check at all? Are these landowners gonna pay for any of the messes that they've made?
Well, the first thing to see is what the messes are that's there. What we often find is sometimes if it's a dry cleaner and there's particular chemicals associated with a dry cleaner, that's pretty clear cut. But so many of the properties have been one thing and then another thing. And so some of the waste might be from a current owner, and some of the waste might be a previous owner who didn't pay for any of the costs of the cleanup. This program has been designed by the feds to help communities deal with that and find a path forward. And so we're kind of excited about that there's money for the brownfields, because it will help the community be able to do the buyout, do the analysis that's required by the state, or in some instances the feds, and then be able to move forward with your flood mitigation work. So at the end of the day, the communities really benefit from these.
Well, I understand that, Tasha, but
Yeah.
it's just another clear thing that people that have the money to pay for their own messes are gonna get off probably scot-free. And that's what's irritating about it.
It's the open market value is what they'll receive, the landowners.
But there's still the messes there.
So if I understood you correctly, there's money, excuse me, for the investigation, but not necessarily money for the cleanup. That might be a separate grant or follow-up
Yes,
work.
yes, currently we have assessment funding. And the assessment is always the great first step, because you don't know. And sometimes there are properties that were cleaned up to former standards, but standards have changed. So it's just good to know. But I appreciate it. It does often feel like with government programs, there are, benefits that are distributed in certain ways. And I just try and focus on the tools that we can use to help the communities and the broader public good that could be gained by utilizing these funding streams. So,
No, but I mean, people have
Yeah.
been my ear about just the things I'm talking about. Tasha.
yeah, yeah.
So I just want to try to be clear myself. Properties are assessed. We discover there's hazardous materials. The town, as the new owner of the property, will be responsible for the cleanup, right?
Well, we try and find cleanup money, and I want to be clear too that even if you find hazardous materials, like if you're going to use a property for flood mitigation and you find hazardous materials well below any earth disturbance, then that you're going to do, you may or may not have to address those. So there's a lot of different factors.
If we're not using the property for anything, then we don't have to clean up anything.
Well, the state has identified properties that you will need to do brownfields on. You could, you really want to improve these properties once you do the buyouts and the structures are destroyed, right? You want, a more attractive community center. You don't want at, you know, Sterling Market, a bunch of disturbed earth and whatever. You want it turned into something that is attractive
We
and
just need-
green
We
space.
just need an idea of what we're facing. I mean, we
Sure.
totally want
So to
that.
be clear, where
Yeah.
Peter is going is where in that sequence do we take ownership? Is it
So you.
prior to the
You've
assessment?
done the buyouts, so you own the
So it's
property.
prior to the assessment.
Yes, so you own the property, but I wouldn't worry. I mean, I can see where you're going like, oh my gosh, now suddenly we're liable for $2 million cleanup. I would appreciate how you would then decide with what you would or wouldn't do with the property.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
Got it.
yes,
All right.
yes.
But it still comes down to the people that probably have the ability to pay for their own mess should be paying for it.
Well, it's not happening.
Right, but it's,
Well,
you know, but it's also.
It can happen. We don't have to sign off
But
on all this stuff.
it would have to go federally.
And
That's
I
not
think
from
too
federal.
that what we have seen in some communities is low-income individuals whose homes were flooded and who didn't realize that they were in a location where there was some kind of brownfield. You know, I think Vermont's got a pretty proud tradition of a lot of different industries and mills and the railroad, and just so, you know, especially in community centers near the river, there's often something. So I fully appreciate what you're saying, Mike, and I'm
I mean,
sorry, you know.
I'd like to sign up for something like that, to tell you the truth. Get somebody to clean my mess up, plus I get a check. I mean, what a racket. For some people.
I don't know that the previous owner is 100% absolved. It just is generally the easiest path if we can access federal money that comes
Yeah.
from your
Yeah.
income to just get it done.
Right, and it's, and these are, they're not just any property, they're properties that severely damaged in the flooding, and so, you know, that these individuals have lost income or the, you know, ability to use their property in some other way.
Yeah, I mean, some property owners, one property owner might be a millionaire who would have the funds to make that. One property owner might have nothing to be able to pay for cleanup. So why don't we care about the people that don't have anything?
Well, I kind of care about those people who don't have anything because it's actually coming out of their taxes for the people that do have something. So,
Well, I think Mike's making a philosophical point that we can all understand, but I guess the point is it's a federal program, so it's not like we can control it.
And I
Whether we
will
want to or
say
not.
that it is nice that we, you know, that it is a federal program and it's all grant money that we have sought, or the other regional planning commission has sought, or some of it is state, that has been brought into Vermont and would not have otherwise been available. So, but you know, Mike, I think I appreciate that, you know, you're talking to people and taking their concerns seriously.
like buying an old gas station that people have dumped oil out on the ground for 40, 50 years, knowing full well that that was probably done. You know, it's
Or maybe
just
if
irritating,
somebody bought an old lumber mill property.
you know? I guess enough said.
Any other questions for Tasha?
I'm beating a dead horse here.
So you guys got a grant for planning. Are you like distributing that between all of the towns or just specific towns?
So all of the towns, but certainly the towns along the main stem of the Lamoille that were significantly damaged, Wolcott, Johnson, Cambridge, and Morristown to some extent are the ones that have more detailed flood restoration and mitigation planning. You know, but it's important that we work and see if there are things that we can do for all the communities, especially in a new weather environment, because now you have these weird microburst storms that can like slay a community, and then the community next door is almost untouched. It's really remarkable how these things are happening now. So and when Melissa comes in and talks about it, you'll see that communities like Johnson are getting a lot of the focus. But the more general activities will apply to all of the communities.
Okay.
Um, One other question, on the list.
To which, the,
Your list of component
oh,
one.
yeah.
Okay. I see where we're talking about Western property and buyout property. What's the reference to the Route 15 bridge? Is that the one right here in the center of town or the one down on the west side?
The one by the Guyon, but I think that's just a locational reference.
Okay,
And I think what she's included here is it's kind of pulled out some of the language we used to get the money. And that now we're doing a lot more to refine that language as we're actually implementing this work.
okay, to reference to an area.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But we're really excited because it was really hard to get this money. We had grant writers assisting us and really were focused on, we had a mission to bring as much of the money to Lemoore County as we possibly could. And we had hoped to get more, but it was super, super competitive. So we were happy to get this funding.
Thank you.
Well, we're glad you did. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll come back to us to talk about ideas for planning projects or?
Yes.
Okay.
So, but can I talk about something about that? Because I think that one of the things that's really important is everything we do is like based on your ideas. And but we also want to make sure that it's a process that moves forward and that sometimes it's not that we don't like your ideas, but we'll just have to say that FEMA would never expect that in a million years and wonderful idea, let's move on, or, or other constraints. And so I just hope that you're respectful that if, sometimes we are dream killers and I apologize in advance. It really helps move the process along,
It's okay. You can be brutally honest with us.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
we need
Good,
Yes.
good. It's
Anything else from the
anything
board?
else?
I just have one other critique, I guess. I used to be on the planning commission, and when I was on there, we worked on the town plan.
Mhm.
And I don't know if maybe I joined a little late in the process. I think I was pretty early in the process, but can't be for sure. But what I noticed was that the approach seemed that LCPC kind of wrote the whole plan and then came to us to give feedback on each section, like and small edits like through the whole process. And I know we just did the plan, so this isn't really relevant for another 5 years or something, but
8 years.
Oh, 8
but-
years?
But I'd like to speak to that, because I think it's really important, again, is you write the plan, but because you don't have planning staff, what happens is there'll be a meeting with the planning commission, and the planning commission will say, these are the things we want you to cover in this chapter, and these are the points that we want you to make.
mhm.
And then our staff will say, we'll do all that, but also there are statutory requirements that we're also gonna have to put in here
Yeah,
and come back. But again, it's your process.
yeah. I guess I just thought I didn't think that we had enough input before that
Mhm.
draft was made at first. Like I felt more like that. This is what it is. You can make
Mhm.
small edits, but I didn't feel like we had much control over the overall plan and structure. So that's
So-
just my critique.
Yeah, so that's helpful because it's really important that that you feel like you have control. That said, there's all these legislative requirements, but yeah, you should have, but also it's important that it's not just the planning commission, but there is public outreach and a lot of, so when you have a new plan coming up, I would encourage you not just to schedule a year in advance to start working on, but talk about starting 2 or 3 years ahead of time and crafting a public process, having surveys and going to events like the Blueberry Festival and tabling and really try and get input from the community. Stowe's been doing an interesting process where they've been asking people, what do you want Stowe to look like by 2050? Really, like, and they've also been asking, because they're such a destination, but you might think about this too, people from outside the community. What would you like the Stowe to look like? Because, you know, the outside money is so much a part of their economic, and then putting that all together and saying, okay, well, you know, now as the select board and the planning commission, how do we want to reflect that in our planning documents?
Mhm. That's a good idea. I think that'd be great for our planning commission to.
Yeah, we actually started it, I think, 2 years in advance, and it's a slow process, but we didn't get much public input, which may have been partly our fault as well, but it's hard
Yeah.
to drum people up for regular meetings.
Yeah, but I think that a visioning process, you know, I mean, you've done
Yeah.
some visioning already, and then incorporating some of that as a starting point, but.
There's no question, we have a lot more, I think, citizen engagement and activity now than we did a couple of years back, so. Which is good.
It is good. It is good. Keeping track of it all the time, it can be challenging. Right, right, yeah. But anyway, but we're here to help, and I'm just, you know, it's nice to visit with all of you, and if you ever have questions or about any range of things, and because especially I saw that you're looking at your procurement policy and your bidding and everything, there's always, you know, such a changing landscape with everything happening at the federal and state level.
Mhm.
So I wish I had more money for you guys, but we're always happy to look as well, so.
Great, thank you.
Well, we really do appreciate the help you've given us on any number of topics.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Sasha.
Thank you.
Diana, you had your hand up. I'm sorry. Do you have a question for Tasha?
If it worked for me, okay. My question was about the visioning project that we've done in the past from the community side of things. I feel like we've done a lot of participation that hasn't really resulted in anything. I feel like I don't know, maybe I was out of town when the final presentation came, but I was anticipating a meeting that never happened. It was canceled and gonna be rescheduled and.
The visioning project was canceled because it seemed sort of redundant to all the other projects that were going on, and it didn't seem to have a concrete focus to it. So we did cancel the second meeting and kind of abandon that part. But that was a very small, like micro portion of the overall Reimagine Johnson. It kind of came after the fact and was sort of on the sidelines of everything else. So it did end up being, your perception is correct.
Okay.
It did sort of disappear, but that was,
We often don't see the fruits of the things that we participate in, and I feel like in one hand, we're kind of. I mean, every time you turn around, there's another survey, another meeting, another way to give input. And I feel like I'm doing all the surveys, I'm giving all the input, I'm going to all the meetings, and then.
Right, so I'm happy to speak to that too. So that part of that visioning process was through a grant with the Vermont Council of Rural Development, and their funding ran out. But a lot of the discussions, I mean, we have all the materials and we have all the input. That's, you know, a great starting point for some of the work that we're doing now. And I think that the process that we're talking about with the next town plan, I mean, the town planning process is you can see what you had to say and how that plays out in terms of town documents, so.
well, I think we'll also have a series of events similar to that, looking at the old lecture hall, for example, the old town hall, rather, the old lecture hall, Sterling Market potentially, and so on. So there'll be many more opportunities.
Hopefully they'll
But-
resolve something. tangible.
Exactly that.
Well, that's it.
Yes.
Like, we had that Legion Field planning and that did result in a
Yep.
map and
Yep.
we've hired
Specific.
a person to do some work there and that's
Yep.
been in process.
Yeah, and that's the kind of thing that the visioning project didn't lend itself to, and that the planning commission, and I guess I decided to let it go. And as Sasha said, the funding ran out, but
And I will note that in terms of public input, when we were doing the new land use maps, that Johnson always wanted a bigger designated village area. And with the new law, that we were able to do that with the community, and that creates new opportunities for visioning and planning.
Mhm.
Thanks again. Okay, next item is Gomo property easement and discussion, possible vote. Molly, welcome. Thanks, Sasha.
I'm back. Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.
Should I give a bit of a summary of the last month and a half? Or?
Please, fire away.
Okay, great. Well, I was here, I think the June 15th meeting to kind of give an initial overview and request for consideration of a trail right-of-way easement for the long trail across the Vermont Town Forest in Johnson. Maybe I should take a step back and introduce myself. I realized I just plowed ahead. My name is Molly Flanagan. I represent the Green Mountain Club. And we're asking for the town to consider a trail right-of-way easement across the town forest. At that meeting, there was a lot of discussion. We heard a lot of opinions. I tried to take those ideas and workshop kind of a menu of options, kind of 3 different scenarios where we could take this idea to show the range of options that are available in a document like this. So working with the chair, we have 3 options, A, B, and C, for consideration. Hopefully the table is in your meeting packet.
Yep.
The 3 options are all very welcome and would be appreciated from the Green Mountain Club point of view. This is very much a negotiation dialogue process, and so this is one further step in whether this is the right type of project for us to engage in. So I'll pause there.
So I'll just say that Molly and I have had a bit of back and forth, quite a bit of back and forth, actually, getting into the weeds of all this. And on our front page, we have 3 different options, spelling out the width of the trail and so on and so forth, the amount they are willing to contribute towards the survey and also to the legal fees. And then the second page is in regard to the right of last refusal or right of first refusal, depending on your point of view, I guess. And the idea there basically is that the Green Mountain Club has the opportunity to match any offer that we get that we're seriously considering. We'd have to work out the legal wording and whatnot, but conceptually, that's what it is. So the first row is they have 30 days to inform us of their intent to execute that right. And then how long does the right go on? I guess the perpetuity versus first bona fide offer, we'd have to get the lawyers to figure out which one of those is the correct wording, but the idea is this goes on until there's a legitimate offer. And then purchase price, and then the area, as I understand it, Molly, your board is willing to accept kind of any or all, whatever we come up with.
Yeah.
And our town attorney is advising against the right of first refusal. So everything's on the table. Correct?
No, not really. He said it's technically. He said it's typically called the right of first refusal, but it's not necessarily just applies to the first offer. It's the last offer. It's the best offer. They get the last shot at it.
It's the offer the town is willing to.
They just say that they have some concerns.
Yeah, let me read this again.
With it, because it would be filed as a easement deed, not a warranty deed. As the board changes, it would get lost and it probably wouldn't be found by deed research. Which would open us up to a potential lawsuit in the future, right?
Yeah, so we'd have to have our attorney work with Green Mountain Club attorneys to nail down whatever the final agreement is. But conceptually, it's for the board to decide, do we want to proceed with this at all? If we do, which one of these kind of scenarios or some variation thereof do we like? And then we'd have to go through the whole process of a notice and a 30-day comment period and all that stuff. But yeah, the exact wording would have to be up to the attorneys for sure.
And a right of. I'm trying to remember. Isn't the right of first refusal have to go before the voters? Is that a topic of confusion? Whatever, we don't need to keep talking about the right of first refusal.
I don't think it does, but I guess I don't know for sure. So I have to look into that.
Because it's selling the rights to a property, not an easement. Remember it being funky.
Well, we're not selling property. Once we sell it, yeah, then it'd have to go in front of the board, I guess, but we're not talking about selling it. We're talking about giving them a chance to match an offer,
Right.
which is all the beast. Okay,
You're gonna open up for this questions now.
absolutely.
What's the reason it can't be left to the way it is?
So this request is coming from our ongoing 40-year effort to legally protect the trail. So it's, we're very appreciative of the arrangement that the trail's been on for the Gomo for the last, I think it's about 30 years. It's been across the Gomo proper. But we are down to just 4.5 miles of the long trail that don't have a legal arrangement for them. And so we're looking to get as close to 100% protection as we can. And so this is a project in that effort.
But it's not a showstopper for you.
It's not a showstopper, but it would be great if it shifted.
And with whatever easement with you would have, the Green Mountain Club would take care of the land and the trail, and just like they do the rest of the easement areas you own, right?
We would take care of, yeah, the area that is covered under the right of way.
Mhm.
So most of the Gomo would not be covered in the.
Right.
agreement. And so it would be detailed to, the area right around the trail.
Mm-hmm. Because currently, we don't do anything of, like, you guys just focus on the trail and nothing else on either side of it. And I'm assuming we don't do anything on the sides of the trail, like maintenance wise.
Currently, we're not doing anything at all, other than we're talking about logging a different part of the whole property,
Yeah,
but, right.
and we would get money. And we would not have to take care of part of the trail that we should be taking care of, but we don't.
Well, we wouldn't have to take care of any of the trail. You're not supposed to take care of it.
No, I know, I'm saying that currently we don't take care of the property on the side of the trails. And
Right.
in doing this, I think it's a good thing that they would take over taking care
Yeah.
of that part.
Just for the sake of somebody telling me why we shouldn't, I'd like to speak in favor of option A, where we started over a month ago.
Me too.
Well, I would point out that option A is actually considerably more in our favor than it was before. First of all, it's 500 feet centered on the trail, not 1,000 feet, which it was before. So it's considered it's half
No.
the area.
It was 1,000 people.
1,000 feet less.
Right, it was 1,000 feet before, it's 500 now, which is exactly what I said. It's 500 feet centered on the trail. So it's half the area that it was before. Secondly, the Green Mountain Club is offering to contribute $10,000 to the survey of the Gomo property, which previously was 5,000. So that pays for the whole survey, which is something we want to have done. Which I think is very generous.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I could support option C. With the last two with the surveys and legal review has no cost to the town. On the second page, turn it to 30 days instead of 20, and on duration of the right would be for the two. I would support option C.
Mike, could I ask you what plans you have for the town forest? in the
Before you
future?
go there, I'm sorry, just details. You said option C, the survey, no cost to the town. You mean you want them to pay 10 grand for that?
No, I don't think the town should pay anything to give them the right of way to this.
No, we previously decided we wanted to get the Gomo property surveyed.
Right, but they can pay for that. If they want it.
The whole forest
Okay.
that they don't have control over?
Well, the survey will be all a part of that. Be part of the whole package.
Okay.
20-foot right
That's-
of way.
That's certainly something we can propose. Sorry.
I'm on agreement for the favor. Really, I've given them a right of way for this. The taxpayer shouldn't have to pay anything for this.
the taxpayers were going to spend $10,000 for a survey of the Como Town Forest.
Right, but
Now they wouldn't have to.
Which we already decided and voted on.
why not get them paid? And it'd be all part of the whole package.
They would pay for it with option A.
Yeah, but I don't want option A. You know,
Why?
electrical lines going through, down through here, you got 50 feet. Transmission lines are 100 feet. Why would you want to give away 500 feet of town property?
You want electrical lines going through our town forest?
I'm just making a statement on right of way.
What do you want to happen with our town forest, though? Do you want to stay a town forest, or do you want? Okay,
But we can give them a right of way through it, a 20-foot right of way.
the more property we give, the less like we have to maintain. It's good,
Well-
it benefits us.
They don't. Yeah, they're not gonna maintain any of the property.
You do some clearing and work.
It will be the trail only, right?
We'll be managing the trail and, public use of it, so it would be focused on the immediate area.
The walking path.
This
Yeah,
is not
but-
pie in the sky.
Arguably, potentially, I'm not saying the Green Mountain Club doesn't do a good job. Maybe if they had an easement, the trail could be better because they could justify spending funds on something that they know they're not gonna be kicked off.
Yeah.
That is.
Will you speak up a little
Certainly
bit?
true.
Kevin?
I said, potentially the Green Mountain Club could spend more money on trail maintenance if they had an easement. Because they would know that they're not putting money into something they could potentially be kicked off from.
That's a great point. Thank you for bringing that up. That is one very important factor for why we try to legally protect the trail, is it gives us access to funding sources that require protection in the long term.
Well, if the
No
board
brainer
needs to reflect on this
for me.
more, I'm okay with that, but personally, I think we should support this. I think option A is a very fair one. It is 13 acres we would be signing away, but it's 13 acres we currently do absolutely nothing with. And it would be in perpetuity, and I think there's a lot of public good for that. So personally, I'm in support of it, but that's just one vote.
I think you got three.
Yep.
Option A.
I'll make a motion for us. For us to go with option A, how should I phrase this? Granting GMC, Green Mountain Club an easement with a 500-foot centered on trail. Yeah, okay, as detailed in option A.
Second.
So that's a motion, a second. Further
We have a
discussion?
motion and a second. Is there further discussion?
I'm gonna recuse myself anyways, just to be clear. I do think that your motion should be to post a notice, because we can't actually do any of this unless it's been posted for 30 days.
Yeah. I'm going to follow.
And I think there should be some clarity on right of first refusal.
Pending
Right.
our,
Is that right of first refusal is not in here?
It's on the page.
It's-
pending our lawyer working with GMC on the right of first refusal.
Well, and understanding however that needs to be done correctly. If it has to go before the voters on town meeting day, that's what we need to do so
Mhm.
that it's actually done properly. Because if it's not, it doesn't really do you any good anyways.
Sure.
And it's still a really good point. So we could say we're voting to proceed with option A, to have our attorneys proceed with option A and nail down what the exactly steps are.
But you would have to amend it and he would have to accept that amendment.
Yeah.
I'll
Change.
amend it. Say that.
All right, twist my arm. Sure. I accept.
You started to say something, I cut you off, sorry.
I don't remember what it was.
Okay,
I don't think it was that important.
so we have a motion and a second. Are we clear? We're deciding basically to authorize our attorneys to talk to each other to figure out how to do option A properly and by the book.
And the Conservation Commission's cool with this?
Yeah. Conservation.
Okay,
So they were cool with 1,000, they should be Who was 500?
And just because it almost happened. Could we keep some sort of easement for power across the long trail? And there was almost a cell phone tower put up there that was gonna pay us
Well,
$1,000 a month for 10 years.
more than that.
My motion does not include that.
I told you I'm recusing myself anyways, I just asked.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there further conversation? Like you have something you want to say? I'm looking at you. Pete.
No, no.
All vote.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Absolutely not.
All those
And I'd like
abstaining?
to go on record that the select board made another unwise decision.
I'm abstaining from voting.
Okay, so we have 3 ayes, a no, and an abstention.
Did you vote aye?
I voted aye. Okay.
Thank you.
Molly,
Probably
thank
be
you
another
very much.
year,
Molly,
but
thank you very much. For clarification, did that motion include the right of last refusal, option A?
We said the loyal, we're.
Yeah, we'll have, yes.
Okay,
So it's option A all the way down, but we'll have to now, we can talk and get the attorneys to
yeah,
figure
I'll
out.
get our
why.
attorney version.
and this will have to come back to us again
Mhm.
to actually approve.
Right,
We're
the legal word.
proceeding with notice and.
Yep.
Yeah.
On the easement and all that.
I give somebody time to get fishing together.
Are you
Oh,
gonna work with our attorney on that?
Yes,
Cause I know. The one that Carl worked with for our easements for the industrial park. Had the writing for those easements, shouldn't take them long,
yeah, David Root did that for us.
okay. Is that the same one?
Yes.
Cool.
Thank
Thank
you,
you very
Molly.
much, really
Thank you.
appreciate your consideration.
Thanks for coming.
Ah.
Okay, next item is industrial park developments. Carl, welcome back.
Most importantly, how much did you miss me?
Oh, terrible. I couldn't enjoy myself at all.
Good answer.
So, like everybody else, I asked, to receive in your packet the email and some draft documents that we prepared.
Yes.
Yeah, I have the invitation to bid document.
Right, and then, that's invitation to bid, and then there's the instruction to bidders, which would be
The data stuff.
start on the, 4th page.
Yes, I went
This
too
one
far.
here.
Yep.
Yep. So, as indicated in the memo that I sent to John, I did send these to Pat Ripley and also to Luke at Plumley Engineering. I did hear back from Pat and he wrote back, quote, "looks fine." And he just expounded on the fact that we need to be sure that we also comply with the town's procurement policy, which, you know, I've mentioned that, and it complicates matters because I have to take one set of regulations and another set of regulations, merge them together. Make sure we're following the strictest of the two. So like I said, we did not hear back from Luke. And the last meeting you did vote to, okay, opening the bids outside of a select board meeting, which will be very helpful, I think, to everybody. So all I'm looking for tonight is your approval of what we've got done so far here, with the understanding that it probably needs to prepare for bid forms because of the alternates that you requested, and which means they need to take all those total project quantities and break them down into the 4 different alternates. It was a little bit of work with them. And also, then there would be, of course, the construction plans. And then I've given you a list in the email to John, 15 appendices or addendums to the the bid package. In addition to those 15, I have to go through the NBRC requirements very carefully to make sure that Mumley picked up every one of those. I'm not saying that they missed any, but I just want to go through those NBRC requirements very carefully and make a note of every one that I find and then check it against this list. So there might be another appendix, something added on.
So you're saying that's still to be done, or you
Yes,
have done?
That's right, it's still to be done, and I'm, as you can see, I'm back this week, and I'm planning to be here every day this week, and this is my priority, as well as some of that RERC business that, because we have a call coming up on Thursday that we need to prepare for. But just about have that wrapped up, so this industrial park will be the main priority this week.
So do you need a motion on these?
So I was hoping for is a motion to accept the invitation to bid and instructions to bidders.
So I will motion to accept the invitation to bid for the Johnson Industrial Park and sorry.
Rochester bidders.
The instructions to bidders for the Johnson mixed use park as presented
Second.
pending Carl's review,
Of the
if he
appendices.
needs one.
And Carl, just to be clear, your outstanding review is of the appendices, not of this document in front of us.
No, it's going through the NBRC.
Yep.
And making sure that we
Okay,
got all the various executive orders and sections of the Code of Federal Regulations and so on that they note in their.
Gosh, that sounds like fun. That sounds like fun.
Oh, it's a must.
Are there any parts of this invitation to bid that you want to bring to our attention of concern? And I read through it, it all looks fine, but it's hard to know what's, if anything, missing.
No, I wouldn't say that there was anything that was a concern. You know, I was speaking with Luke. You know, he reminded me that their original contract with the town, they spent almost everything that was in there, but they're going to make sure that they help the town get through this process successfully. So that they wanted to limit their time with the questions, so we decided questions would be directed to me. And then as needed, then I would go to Mumley to get technical assistance. Now draw your attention to the plans will be acquired for a fee through Mumley, which is standard practice, but the $50 they're asking for is very low. I was very surprised to see something so low. Years ago, I would see like $200, $250 for plan sets. But by having them distribute the plans, they can keep a master list of what contractors have picked up plans, so that we do have to send out an addenda that they know who it needs to go to. So every contractor has those revisions to the specifications or the plans.
Are we gonna list these on works in progress?
We might, I've asked that question, and they've supplied some like contact information for doing that for works in progress. We've also started a list of contractors in the immediate area here, Johnson and Morrisville and over Walcott area, that will mail them specs to directly. And then of course it needs to be posted in 3 public places in town, needs to be published in the newspaper, and we'll use your website and your Front Porch Forum account to publicize it that way. And then we also have to reach out to the disadvantaged business enterprises or the minority and women-owned businesses. So I think it was Pat that supplied the the contact information for acquiring that.
What are we considering for a due date?
Well, it'll be probably 3 weeks after we release. And what I was thinking is that we would try to coordinate the bid opening with a week before we need to give a report to John to put in your packet for the following Monday. So we'll have to coordinate all that. So it might not be exactly 3 weeks, it might be more, but I would think that they should have a minimum of 3 weeks to produce a bid.
I was thinking that seems short. Is that, did we talk to any contractors? Is that enough time?
That's kind of what I recall as being a standard practice.
Okay.
Seems like a long time in my line of work.
Municipal bids that I'm involved in, it's not at all. It's usually,
Like 6 hours.
okay, any other questions for Carl? We have a motion. We have a second. Any further discussion on the invitation to bid and instructions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
As I publicly stated, I am in opposition to this from here on out, so I will vote in the negative, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Any abstentions? Okay, the ayes have it. Thank you for preparing this, Carl.
Okay, thank you, Ross.
Anything further on your report or?
I'll see you on the 17th.
All right.
Thanks, Carl.
Thank you, Carl. Okay, next item of business is to discuss the community food shelf and the old mill house. You can bring another chair up if, I mean, yeah, please.
Why do you always get in the broken chair?
Good evening, select board members. I think that Dorgan emailed some materials regarding food shelf, general information.
Yes.
To the town clerk, great, thank you.
I'm speaking up if you can.
I can, yeah.
Would you like a copy of the material?
Pardon? Oh, no, I have it here. Thank you. Yeah, we were just here to present about the Johnson food shelf and how we serve the local community. And it was somewhat in reaction to the newspaper article and the discussion around the potential sale of the current home of the food shelf. So we wanted to just discuss a little bit about how we serve the Johnson community. So we've been providing food and supplies to people in need since about 1993. Right now we serve about 400 people a month. And a lot of those individuals are people who are working, but they are not able to cover their basic needs. Some of them have disabilities that prevent them from being able to afford their full medical costs. And the only lever they can pull is getting food assistance from the food shelf.
Some of the areas that we serve is Johnson, Hyde Park, Waterville, Eden, Belvedere. Those are surrounding town. And we home deliver to a lot of the shut-ins. There's 46 volunteers that work there. I've been there 12 years, and so you know, I'm Kathy Fuller. And
Oh, sorry, I didn't introduce myself, Martha Mesha.
so. So anyways, with this, we also partner with the Meals on Wheels, and they help us to deliver some of the foods that they can't get out to get. And it also helps us as volunteers at the food shelf with Meals on Wheels, delivering them when they deliver meals. So that's a gift. That is a big gift. Not everyone will deliver that's been there at the food shelf, but there's certain amount of us that do deliver. And most of them are here in Johnson that we deliver to. One of the other things, I'm curious about is about the building itself. Um. I don't know how to put it, but, where do you foresee the food truck to go? If you had to sell it, or what would you do? That is our worry and our biggest concern. I spoke with Greg Pedro, and I also spoke with Gene, if he knew of any place in the area. We'd like to know if any of you folks know of a place, or can we stay there? How long is it gonna take, or when would you let us know? If we have to move. I guess it's a lot.
Let me just jump
Can I
in.
say something real quick?
Yeah, please, go
If it
ahead.
was up to me, I'd give it the bill.
The building is in need of a lot of repair.
Right, but you could form a community trust and be available for all kinds of grants, I would imagine. You can maintain your own structure. When, I don't want to go into too many weeds here, I'll let him finish, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thanks, Mike. I was just gonna say that, as you know, the building is jointly owned by the town and the village. And there has been no decision really what to do with it. So we don't have an answer for your question. Or even a timeline for it, frankly.
I mean,
But I can understand the concern that this conversation raised, and that's kind of where it stands.
I love doing what I'm doing, and right along with this one and the other ones here. Cause I came from a poor family and I know where it's at. You know what I'm saying?
You guys do wonderful work. There's no question. I was very impressed. I spent some time there with Dorgan last weekend or the weekend before, and it's amazing what you've been able to do. Have you looked up at the college at all? Had any conversations there?
I haven't personally, unless one of the other girls have.
You know, there is some potential for a conversation with the college, or we looked into the Union Bank building before we discovered that it was in the floodplain. But you know, there's a possibility for some exploration on our end to think about a potential home. One thing I would say about that is that we are all volunteer labor and board management, so we would need to pursue some support for grant writing or financial management to that end if we were to occupy a property that we were responsible for funding the operating costs and the ownership costs of that. So that would need further planning and exploration and strategic movement, right?
It's a big lift, right?
It's-
It's, it's not your primary mission.
Right.
Because of all of our money that we receive in donations and grants, all go for food. It doesn't go to any of the volunteers.
In terms of the, a timetable and, giving you an idea of when, I think Paul addressed that very well, that there isn't. And unfortunately, that article really set off a lot of anxiety.
Well, it
And-
blew me apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I don't think it was necessarily accurate either.
it was not, no, it was not. And I for one, but I suspect the board would agree that we would not surprise you with something like that. I think we need to work together, assuming that we can even come to some kind of decision about who owns what property. And that's a big if.
And that's an ongoing issue, right?
Yes, so, I mean, I don't think that's gonna be decided tomorrow. And I would hope that, we would be in constant communication with you folks in terms of where any plans.
I know the building needs a lot of help where we are. There's a broken window or two upstairs. We've put cardboard over it, but
Do you know how old the building is?
I don't know, it used to be a farm at one time.
Right.
And then it was the telephone.
Offices for the town.
Yeah.
I think that house dates from the early.
You were around.
I think the structure of that building is good from what I've seen, but it just needs tidying up. Around the chimney area out back of the building. There's opening, couple holes area there that should be sealed up. I don't know also, who am I supposed to call? Cause I've been there. I went in on a couple different weekends and we had no heat, so I guess I need to make sure who I'm gonna call. I know Eric was available and I think his name was Eric that I spoke to. And he went down, fixed the furnace or adjusted it.
Well, if you have any problems, contact John or Eric and they can figure out
Yeah.
what to do from there.
We would like it not to freeze.
No,
So a heads up would
Unfortunately,
be
the
great.
thermostat is in the
yes,
former office for the village and
yes,
it's locked and you can't control it. According to Darla.
yeah,
She gave me the nickel tour and it was very informative. And before I forget, I did not realize how many volunteers you folks actually have. And all the good work you really do.
we have 3 folks on the shift. So there's some that volunteer once a month, there's some that volunteer 3-4 times a month just to cover.
Yeah, having a roster of 40-some is very impressive. It's quite something.
I think if the village doesn't use that office anymore,
No,
it should be opened up actually for more room and also
we use,
control your thermostat.
yes, we used to use that area. And then when they were doing stuff with the village,
Garage, yep.
they use that area. But there's nothing in it now, so.
I've reached out to Ken to ask if that's a
open it
possibility.
up.
We haven't connected yet, but I've sent him an
Yeah,
email.
I
that-
talked to Eric and about that, and while they're working on the village garage, they use that to store personnel records. But now they're cleaning it back out. So.
So I guess you got a flavor. I don't think anybody here is looking to surprise the food shelf and boot anything. We serve the community well.
Thank
Me personally, I would, in the long term, like to see the food shelf move with support from the town so that that building could be used more for tourism for the rail trail. But I have never had those conversations with people where I didn't say we need to do something for the food shelf.
Could you use the upstairs and leave the downstairs for the food show?
That's possible.
Yeah. But anyway, you had a question a minute ago about this board, I believe, and I'm speaking for myself, and I imagine I'm speaking for everybody. We're not gonna throw you out in the year.
No,
By any
I
means.
understand that,
Yeah.
but like we all read in the paper and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You get a reporter involved and see what you get.
Right. If it
Oh,
ever
wow.
happens again, reach out to me.
And your number's in the phone book?
I'm the town administrator, just call the town office.
Yeah, I think we're aware that it's a complicated issue that isn't going to be addressed or solved in the short term. We just wanted to come and
We just want to get a
say
heads up.
hello and talk about our work, so thanks for your time.
Well, we can do apologize for the concern we caused.
I am a big proponent of the work you guys do. I love the food shelf and I appreciate all the volunteers and all the good you guys do. I think there's some things we need to do like now currently in the place that it's at. And then we need to make some plans and think about a future where whether it's there or whether it's at a different building, whatever it may be. But I think like currently right now, I think we need to know the status of the building. I don't think I don't think it's working right now. Both boards not taking care of the building, basically. So we need to make a plan with the village to be able to maintain the building in whatever way we can. I know we can't do major renovations or anything like that, but doing small fixes like the windows or anything like that, we can't do right now. So that's something I would like to see. And then I've gone to a few of your meetings, as you know, and there was some discussion on possibly the food shelf, putting some pay towards our CEDS salary so that our CEDS can apply for grants for you guys for a future property or repairing in place. So I don't know if you guys have thought more about that and if you're still interested in that, but I think that would be a good idea.
I believe we have a meeting tomorrow,
Okay.
our board. And I think that was part of it.
Yeah, I spoke with Dorgan and she wanted to express that we haven't voted on that yet as a board, so
Okay.
we understand it's an option we should consider. We just haven't voted about it.
Okay.
We're just looking at our options.
Definitely.
Thank
Well,
you.
I'd love to help in any way with exploring options with you guys. So just reach out anytime, of course.
Great. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is the assessor reports errors and omissions related to commitment. And we have,
Justin's on.
Hello, folks. How are you?
Hi,
good, Justin, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, my name is Justin Mason. I'm the assessor for the town and village of Johnson. Presenting the errors and omissions certificate for the select board to consider. 3 disclaimers real quick. So I just want to say, my kids could walk in at any moment, which they just did. So apologies for anything you may hear. Also, this errors and omissions certificate is a state reported value. So this is values that are coming from the state that were reported by the village. So I'll talk about that in a minute. And then also that I am now a town and village taxpayer. So to put that into perspective as well. Okay. So so on this errors and omissions, no, I'm on the call, guys. Go back out. Thank you. Okay, so number 1, the span says 12,006. It's actually supposed to be 12,007. So the first one is the village grand list is updating its value. This is for the utility of the village of Johnson. And the village of Johnson is exempt from paying property taxes within the village limits, but on their own grand list. But they have to pay town taxes on the utilities within the village grand list on the town grand list. So previously the village was completely exempt in the village, but they're only exempt on the village side. This is referencing statute 32 VSA 3659. This errors and omissions brings a value difference going from exempt 2,773,900 to being taxable, which results in an approximately $80,518 tax bill on the 2026 grand list and tax year. This value, I just want to also say that some of the information that comes from the state or that was reported by the village is confidential. So I'm trying to be careful what I do and don't say. I don't think I have anything confidential here in front of me, but just so you're aware. The tax rates have already been set for the village and for the town. So this would be in addition to the funds raised if the select board decides to approve it. This value, I believe what, as I stated, was reported to the state from the village and then came back to the town. The reason for this error also was the state and the town didn't understand how the valuations work and what what our, how do I put that? How our grand list was set up, because there are two separate tax bills for the village and the town, not all one tax bill. So there's some confusion there that we've gotten clarified. So it is up to the select board if they want to approve it or not. And I will let you folks talk and answer any questions if I can.
Well, thank you, Justin. It's pretty confusing. I mean, go ahead. Sure. So my question is, do we have that authority, and basically what are options here? If we approve this, the village gets stuck with an $80,000 tax bill they weren't expecting, that we weren't expecting either, or we are expecting to receive and they weren't expecting to have to pay. What are the options? What are the alternatives to approving it?
You can not approve it, and if you don't, then I will go back to the state, our district advisor and utility director, Benton Mitchell, and let him know. And then we will talk about what that will mean for our CLA, if we'll just catch it next year, if that's gonna affect our CLA or not. If you do approve it, then they can, one, pay the bill that comes, or they can appeal the value, which would basically, they'd be appealing the value to the state, or they could file an abatement and ask for the taxes to be waived or reduced.
Okay, thank you.
And this letter from Ashley Isabel,
At the 10th hour,
Yeah.
or the 11th hour,
I did not see that.
12th hour.
I will check my email, but
well, that
I
was,
did.
It was only to John.
Okay, yeah, I did.
I just got it today.
the whole question is at the 9th hour anyway, so
Well, E&Os happen every year.
mhm.
I-
They're asked, I just want to understand what they're asking here. They want time to review documentation. Justin, it says, Eric and I were wondering if you could share with the select board tonight that we, the village team, would appreciate the opportunity to review the documentation that was submitted on the VTPIE, which generated the information that produced the parcel being spoken about regarding Justin's E&O submission.
Yes, so if that question is directed towards me.
Yeah, so,
Yeah. So, yeah, they can take the time to review it. It's up to the select board. So you folks can approve it tonight, or you could put it on your agenda for the next meeting and approve it then or not. If you do approve it tonight, then I will send them a valuation notice, a change of appraisal notice, to let them know what their new value is and the reason why it changed. And then they will have, they specifically will have a grievance appeal date, so they can file by or have an appointment for a specific date. So that would give them the time to review and then appeal it if there was an error. Or you could give them time to figure that out first before deciding.
So has there been any communication with the village to date?
There has, as I was going through and having this conversation with Benton and clarifying what all this taxable and exempt means, I included Ashley on the communications. And then once we get the final verdict per se from the state, I contacted Ashley and Rosemary and Ken.
Okay, thank you.
So I am going to make a motion that we table this until the next meeting. Slightly concerned about that because we're setting a precedent here that we would not do for any other municipal electric utility within our limits. We're extending a courtesy to the village of Johnson. It's not being extended to anybody else. I'm relatively torn on that one.
Favoritism.
Now,
Well,
run that by again.
if this was, so Village of Hyde Park Electric has utility
Yeah.
infrastructure within our limits. If there was an E&O that came for them, would we have this conversation at all? Would we with Morrisville Water and Light? Would we with Vermont Electric Co-op? Would we with Green Mountain Power?
And I can answer
We
that
would
question
say
for
this,
you. If you'd like.
Anybody within our town if they owed us the money, we would say, give it to us.
My point is, I would like to allow the village some time to review. It seems like they requested it. We have never once rejected an E and O. Sounds like we can. It's
Well, we can at
weird.
least table it, sounds like.
That's what I'm
certainly.
saying. If we table it till our next meeting, village can have time to review.
We could go ahead with it anyway, and then they could appeal it. They could go to the Board of Civil Authority. They could
Does that
ask for a
have
tax
to-
abatement. We,
That's-
any other utility,
Yeah,
we
good
would
point.
say,
As a
hey,
matter, Mike, as a matter of procedure, we have a motion on the floor to table to allow the village time to consider this. Is there a second?
Second.
Bummer, that would be
Okay.
nice if it died.
Discussion.
Hmm.
Thank you. I think that's perfectly reasonable. This is something the state changed. These values come from the state, and the state apparently didn't have a right last year.
Wow.
So to stick them with an $80,000 bill, they weren't expecting,
now it's take payments,
that we weren't expecting either.
My guess is the state hasn't had it right for
long time.
60
Yeah.
years, 70 years, and our taxpayers have been overtaxed for that long.
I can support this, giving them time to look into it, but if they come to the conclusion that they owe the town the money, then the town should receive it.
Oh, yeah, no argument there.
Let's just issue them a strongly worded warning.
Either way, this needs to be corrected for next year.
Right.
And I would just say that I would hope that we, in our deliberation about this, recognize the impact of an $80,000 hit on a small municipality's budget.
Would we recognize it if it was any other municipality?
And the one Green Mountain Power, no, or
We just-
still water like
They're-
A
that.
soft place in our heart for the village. It's
It's
just,
okay.
Well,
Give them time to look into it. Let's
so
move on.
I don't mean to ask that question to put you on the spot. I struggle with this myself, because if we're creating a precedent of favoritism, are we setting up a future select board for a potential lawsuit for not giving favoritism to this like entity for the same reason?
Always a valid question.
Call the question, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, may I add to, after your motion is complete, may I add to comment or before, whenever you'd like to hear from me, if you do?
After we vote or before we vote?
Okay, so if
Okay.
this discovery had been found prior to lodging the grand list, then I would not be coming to the select board for this. I would have just changed it and they would have gotten this tax bill. Then in that case, the town tax rate would be lower because we would have an $80,000 tax bill. And likely their tax rate would, they wouldn't have had time to vote on their budget either to include this 80,000. So they would have had to either hold a special meeting to redo their budget, or they'd be stuck with it either way. And I hear what you're saying, Eben. I struggled with that as well. And at the end of the day, it's trying not to be favoritism. Empathy is being an assessor. I have a lot of empathy, but I also can't use it a lot of times. So it is an amount that was reported by them that would be due, and it wouldn't be a select board decision if it had been caught 2 months ago or 3 months ago.
And I appreciate that,
That's-
Justin.
Yeah, good point.
You've done your job to the letter. It has nothing to do with you. You did a good job.
Appreciate that.
For clarity, that $80,000 tax bill, only about 20,000 would stay in the town. It'd be about a penny less on the tax rate.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of tabling this,
Aye.
say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstain? Okay, the ayes have it. Thank you. Justin, thanks very much. So we voted the table and we will look at this again next meeting. Meanwhile, please communicate with the village.
Will do,
One more.
absolutely. If
Uh,
you need
one
me to
more-
come to the next meeting, please let me know.
Okay, thanks.
Great,
One more
thank you. Have a good
comment.
night.
Can I ask one question, Justin?
Mhm.
I mean, we're not denying or approving this E and O. If we were to deny your existential circumstances, would we be liable for the educational tax rate?
In a way, I would need to talk to Benton about that, but I think, don't quote me on this. I know we're on record, but don't quote me on this. I think the worst case scenario, besides inequity or favoritism or whatever, is that our CLA could drop significantly. If the state decides to say, we gave you this value, you're supposed to use this value, you decided to go with 0, so we're going to treat this 0 against the 2.7 million, then that would affect our CLA. We might have some flexibility there with the state, but that's worst case scenario.
Well, if our CLA is drastically affected by this, that means our pilot payment we receive from the colleges will be drastically lower, and that's north of, no, it's not north of 400.
$415,000.
Yeah, so
And
we need to know the answer to that.
Yeah,
Next
but-
slide, please.
Yep.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And I will say that I will do my best to get an answer for that, though I know they'll be hesitant because of the nature of the beast to give it definite, but I'll do my best.
Fun stuff.
Thank you, folks. Have a good night.
Justin, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We'll start on that one for next meeting. Next item, skate park water project. Casey Rowe, step on up,
I'll move up into and keep better hearing.
please.
We can hear you, yeah, we can hear you better up here.
Yeah.
You want to start off then? Where you want? 21.
Yes, you gotta sit here.
I do have to sit here.
That's for the microphone.
Mic can be turned. I was trying to-
Or you could just push your chair around for a while.
So Casey came to me. Apparently previously there was a water line that went from the shed to the skate park. That water line has been compromised and no longer works.
Right.
So the question she asked would be, what can be done to put another water line in from the shed to the skate park? So she brought in a quote from Greg Fatigate, an estimate of about 4,700 to do a lot of the digging with an excavator. I did talk to Ryan about, how long did he think it would take him to do the job? Just trying to see what that would entail, and he seemed it wouldn't take him longer than a couple days to do the work to put the water line in. So there's
what was his?
couple
Best
days,
time estimate?
couple days. Couple days,
Couple of days.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah,
yeah.
right.
Water line, how many feet?
No, when I talked with him, it was hours, so I wasn't, again, I have trouble hearing.
Okay. So I guess, one of the things I talked to Casey about was, let's talk to the board about it and see what their thoughts are. And let's get some direction from the board. Do they want us to focus on maybe looking at a contractor or seeing if we could have our own public works crew do the work? So. Casey?
And if Public Works was to do the work, would that in any way help the fact that there's camp next week at the skate park?
It's too late for that, I think. I don't think, we don't have a it's a domino effect of
Okay.
like waiting. And this has been going on since last June.
I was gonna say, this is not the first time you've come to us.
Yeah, well, in any case, I feel very strongly that, the specs that Greg quoted as used as parameters of his estimate were we've now found were a little bit off because the realities of what needed to be done have sort of shifted. Nevertheless, it's in the $3,000 to $4,000-ish of work. But I think it's a better idea to proceed with the town doing the work because they can coordinate so easily with the village. And they have the supplies on hand, etc. And last October, I told you folks about the up to $5,000 no match grant for
sudden and urgent needs. This isn't sudden. I do think it's urgent. You know, the folks at the Community Foundation say, yeah, you've got a park, you've got athletics, you've got a garden, you've got Paladiner Garden. Yeah, you do need public water. So I think the wiser plan is to have municipal bodies doing it and coordinating. And so there's two things. What is the job? And what do we need to do about the grant? That's an easy answer. Need to send that application in by Wednesday or Thursday morning latest, because they make the decisions on the 10th and they need to have a little time for it. It's a very simple grant. It's just sort of budget page and tell us what happened and what you want to do. So that's the grant part of it.
How much is the grant for?
5,000.
5,000.
Mhm.
And
Right.
you're willing to write the grant, or you want the CEDS to write the grant?
Oh, no,
Or,
it's halfway done and
Okay.
finish the budget.
so you need a motion well, that's under.
Well, that's point one. Go to point two. Sorry.
Yeah.
Lenny.
Yeah, point two is, how do we get the job done? Who's gonna do it? And what would be what are we asking the town to do in effect? And what we're asking is to authorize the Public Works crew to do the 2-3 days or 15, 16 hours of work that's going to be needed, which Ryan feels quite capable that they can fit that in with their schedule.
And this work is as outlined on this page in front of us.
Huh?
The work is outlined appropriately on this page in front of us. Is that correct?
I don't know what page that is.
John, where's
Yeah, that's the one that you gave me. I put it
I'm
in
assuming
the
this came
board
from you.
packets.
Yeah, it's a description. That's a very simple description.
Okay, but it's simple enough to
Yeah. It's
describe the project in general.
The need keeps creeping, as I learned even today that from Nate, that finding the electric line is gonna be slow, careful work. It's a mix of excavation and delicate handwork, because you're looking for an electric line. Dig Safe only finds the telephone line. He has to find the electric. Yeah, stuff like that.
It's only 150 feet of water line. What
Just
size
about.
is it? What, 1 inch, 2 inch? 3/4. 3/4?
Quarter
Yeah.
inch.
You might as well go 1 inch.
Well, good, but.
We've
150
got that,
feet,
we've got.
down 6 feet, ain't gonna take 2
Yeah,
days.
we've got most of the line already.
Okay.
See, we spent about 1,780, 1,780 was spent already in 2025. I'm incorporating that in the grant in hopes of getting that work reimbursed.
On your homes, you should always go as big as possible because it's in the labor, not the material. Okay, but anyway,
So
to push this forward, I have no problem with the town crew doing this, as long as we're reimbursed.
Well, that's what do you mean reimbursed?
you're applying for the grant, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so my motion is to upon grant acceptance to authorize John Sutherland to work with Casey. If the Public Works crew can do the job, go for it. If not, subcontract it out. My motion's leaving latitude because we are short-staffed in the highway department. We have a good group of guys. It's just if it doesn't fit, I want to allow latitude.
I want that motion to receive some compensation in there.
Yeah, I said upon receiving
The grant.
the
Okay,
grant.
okay.
Second,
I missed that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Comments on the motion? Concerns?
Yeah. A caveat is that when I spent some time with Ryan today, he said, historically, we had documents that said, here's what we charge for such and such type of work. They're disappeared. they're not there. So he took it upon himself to Google that in our area, if you were to do this type of work with the exact machine that, you know, the town crew has, what would the rate be? Well, it varied, but it ranged between like, you know, $90, $100 an hour to like 180. So we said, let's use the hourly rate that Greg used, which was 125 an hour, just to have something to work with. So getting to my caveat is that if the Public Works Department can find their own documents and we have to tweak the excavation rate number up or down a little bit, of course we would. But right now, we're going on what we feel is a fair guesstimate.
Use the FEMA rate sheets.
But that's,
Okay.
you know,
So
it seems fair, it seems workable, it's within the scope of what the grant would cover.
so Evan's motion was to let John work on that. So that's kind of covered. No?
I'm submitted, they can see me, hear me. Noel Dodge, I'm gonna go tree warden with this comment. In past decisions, when other boards have asked for the select board to allow the road crew to do work with them, the decision has been, no, they are doing road work only and are not allowed to work to help nonprofit and other groups in town. So I'm curious if that is a policy change. I'm thinking the water lines of the tree, the arboretum for one, and then the tree grades also.
My understanding in the past has been if they can fit it in, not a hard no. Is that not what you
Way in the
heard?
past, and there was a period in the middle where that was not the case.
Or
Well-
to change every year.
Let's-
Specifically, the tree grates aren't even on town property. So, but I understand with the water line at the Arboretum, exactly what you're saying.
Tree grades originally were through the town road crew, and that grant was gonna pay the road crew to do the work. Similar situation to what you just discussed, that's why I used it as reference, but yes, I understand town property.
Well, speaking for myself, I think my personal view on this is we want the Public Works crew to be able to help committees as much as possible without compromising their main mission. So in my mind, it's if we can do it. But I'm just one vote here, so that's not a board policy.
I don't know that we ever made a hard and fast vote. That,
No, but we have turned down groups in the past, committees in the past for work saying we don't have enough employees on hand to do the work.
My motion left latitude. And if they say that they can't fit it in, my motion says, use the quote.
I agree, I think that's how it should happen, and it's how it used to happen, and there was a period in the middle where it didn't happen, so that's why I asked the question. I would encourage the board to explore writing a policy that says exactly what you're saying there, applaud. I know you don't like writing policy, but it doesn't have to be long. If they're available, they can help. That's all.
We're gonna need the tree warden on the next one, so
Yeah, I
don't
know
go
that's
anywhere.
But I'm a big advocate for the road crew to get paid back for, if they say they're gonna spend 2 days here, they should be compensated for it, out of something.
Yes.
Well, that's
And
what
another
Peter-
question I have,
Nope.
Casey,
Yeah.
are we ever gonna catch up with the skate park?
What do you mean catch up?
Catch up with, you know, it seems like every other month or so, you come in and you're looking for this or that, or. You know what I mean? Are we ever gonna catch up? You know?
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
There are needs, of course, that have had to wait after the flood. There are needs that have.
I know, but in the past,
Wait.
I'm saying I've been on board like pushing 9 years now. And if every time you came before the board, I got a dollar bill, I couldn't fold my wallet. You know what I mean? So, this skate park does take a lot of times coming in.
Say
You know,
parks
looking for
need
stuff.
maintenance. That's part of having.
Well, I understand
parks.
that. I understand.
On the other hand, we're now able to serve more kids.
Oh, I get it.
5 kids
That's awesome.
coming up and learning to skate when they're really young and their parents getting involved in the park.
I do see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see it.
Yeah, so.
Diana, you had a comment?
that I think town-owned properties where there's a deeper water should have water. I don't even see why it's open to debate, you know, if it's a park, if it's an arboretum, if it's
Community oven.
Nobody's denying it. Nobody's denying it.
right, and by the committee taking the responsibility off of your shoulders. They're fulfilling an obligation on behalf of the town. They're not coming to the town and making you spend money unnecessarily. They're doing your work for you, I think.
They should maybe be a community trust.
So,
No, and I think that's what Casey you suggested, and that's what we're supporting. So I think we're in agreement there. So thank you. Any other comments on the motion?
Are you taking donations of drinking water for camp?
Well, there's drinking water and there's rinsing and washing water. We can supply drinking water for about $30. And I'm asking our partners at River Arts and so forth, you know, please bring what you can, and that's fine. We're gonna have the fire department has kindly agreed to supply rinse water, which is technically not, it's clean, but it's technically not potable. And I'm beating the bushes, which Peter's already said he's gonna check his garage. We're collecting 30, 40-gallon trash cans with lids that we can line. And we'll put them in the old yard hydrant area where there is a, a dry well. So that will be the area where washing or rinsing, shall we say, will take place. And then on a separate shelf against the shed, the drinking water bottles and containers, they will be separate. So, and I'm putting in that $30 into the grant budget. Because what are we doing in the meanwhile? Well, we're making it work.
thank you very much, Casey.
All right, so we have a motion to, I'm not gonna restate the whole thing, but basically have the public works crew do it if they can, and if they can't, we'll contract it pending acceptance of the grant. Any further discussion?
Yeah,
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, all those abstaining.
thanks.
Done.
Supposedly
Thank
we
you.
hear back pretty quickly after the 10th. So sometime in August we'll hear.
All right, good luck.
Okay.
Thank you for your hard
And
work, Casey.
have to say, on this policy level, this, that, and everything I've heard you guys talking about today. And every time I'm here or anybody's here, we see, like Diana said, there's simple problems. People are hungry, parks need water, and yet it's so hard and so complex. And I can't imagine how you work it through, and I'm grateful to you.
Well, we work it through because we have volunteers like you that help.
Thank you. Casey.
Appreciate all your effort in your committee.
Thanks, Casey.
Cut all the trees down.
That's not an agenda.
Oh, but it is.
Aren't those already?
Yeah. One
Already
has,
been cut, right?
one has.
Cut them all.
John, tee us up. What do we
Yeah,
got here?
Yeah, Howard came to me and mentioned that there was these two trees that were leaning toward the library. And when he puts his road in, they're gonna be right in the way. So he put a ribbon around them. And one of the things we talked about was, do we do an RFP and have somebody come in and take the trees down? And I asked Ryan, what he thought, whether or not Public Works could do it. And we looked at where the library is, and so he said he thought he could do it. And I said, all right, I said, I'll let the board know, and I'll put it on the agenda and see how they wish to proceed. And then when he did his report on Friday, he said, oh yeah, by the way, I took those trees down. And then I heard from Noel Dodge there that, there is a procedure for taking trees down on a public property.
There is, but I don't think it will apply to those trees, is the quick answer. So we've done this process for the trees for the library move. We did it for a large maple that was next to the yellow building, which was removed, which is where the library is now. It's a pretty simple process. It's a 15-day post notice, but those are for trees that are not otherwise sick or unhealthy or a public hazard. There's an exemption for public hazard trees. Typically, it would have worked out to have me look at them and say, yep, that's a public hazard tree, go for it. I did not get a chance to see these two trees. I just saw the picture in the packet though. But talked to Ryan this morning on the phone. They were leaning over a building and over an electrical box. That's a hazard. They're box elders. They weren't planted. They're not in a public shade space or right of way. So I don't think it's an issue at all. I would have called them hazard trees anyway, so.
Thank you.
Yeah. And it's true that only one out of the two was taken down?
Well, there was
I only
like
saw one stump.
one stump, but there was like two trees branching off it.
Yeah.
And Ryan took the
Okay,
trees.
but
down.
there's still one behind it leaning
Yeah,
pretty good amount.
at least if the one on the right, if you're standing with your back to the left, the one on the right is the one that's down there with stump. The one on the left, as far as I know, and I looked at it yesterday, is still standing.
Yes,
Were they both flagged?
What?
Does the one that's still standing still have the flag?
I didn't, yeah, that one there wasn't flagged. I think the flags were only around the two trees that were coming off that one stump.
No, I had a flag on, I also had a flag on one of the two trunks. One of the three trunks, I think, coming off the other one. Or maybe four
So we have an opportunity for Noel to go look
I'll
at
go
that
look
other
at
tree.
it.
How about that?
I had to look on Saturday, there wasn't any flags, and now I know why, they were
Knock
gone.
yourself out, buddy.
Could I put in a plug for not exposing that ugly building on the hill?
Not exposed.
Oh, you mean the old elementary school, what were those things, the
Oh,
Modulars?
modulars, yes.
Yeah.
Didn't know.
there's still a whole bunch of trees behind us.
That vegetation
There's
is what's,
Yeah, that's
Yeah. Well,
not the professional way to word it, but keeping privacy is nice. So what do we do with the last tree?
We have Noel go look at it.
Are you good with working with Nolan?
Yeah, no, like I said, my,
Do you need a motion or we?
that's a
move it on?
stupid thing, you know.
Board consensus.
my whole thing was.
Okay, so we have a consensus. John's gonna work with Noel to look at that third tree and decide
Yes.
where we have some action.
Perfect.
Yeah, but the-
Thank you very much.
Stop, can we pull the stump out of can we pull the stump out of the one on the right?
Can who?
I don't control stumps.
We need a stop.
this down here.
Yeah.
That's the electrical town question.
Well.
Do you need to?
It's not.
It's not really in the way of a road, is it? You don't really need to move the stump.
No, we may not, yeah. But it's between the power vault and those two big trees. It's not a lot, but there's room to get by, I think. It would be nice if we had a little more room to move a truck, a pickup truck with a trailer. And to the right, when you came down off the parking lot. You know, this whole thing is gonna be an extension of the parking lot. That's all I'm saying. It would be nice to pull those stumps, but if not, we'll live without it. We'll live with them, I guess.
Good.
Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah. okay.
Good.
We're friends for.
All right. Next item.
I'd like to make this somewhat
Thank you both.
painless. I
Evan,
think,
please make this painless.
I
Formal
think
forestry contract.
I think Mike Green and the Conservation Commission and John have answered all of our questions. I would like to approve the timber sale contract for the Gomo Town Forest as presented.
Second.
Nice. They're doing some behind the scenes work or something.
All right, we have a motion and a
Thank you.
second discussion. Mike, comments, concerns? Casey Howard, thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, we did the RFP. And that was a result of almost a year's worth of work of the Conservation Commission. We had questions. They were answered. We had more questions that were answered. Now I'm ready to approve the contract. We already fulfilled our procurement policy.
Yep. Did you get a second? You did get a second. This call
Yeah.
question. Yep. Moving
Any
forward.
discussion?
We beating this.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, abstain. You guys have it. Thank you, Evan. Thanks, Noel. All right, next item is call in or on-call pay. Discussion and consider vote. John, what do you got?
So there was a discussion at the last meeting regarding Ryan receiving on-call pay. Part of the discussion was, the union contract states it's $125 a week. So he was on call for 8 weeks. The board approved $1,000. Looking at the union contract, that states it's just for winter months. So I wanted to ask the board as to, how they felt about the vote. And the other option was, what are we doing about setting a precedent? So one option would be to put it in the personnel policy that going forward, all on-call time during non-winter months would be $50 a week.
This would be in our personnel policy, which we can approve and would take effect on the next union contract.
Yes.
Did you have a chance to talk to?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to.
Excuse me a second. Do you have a chance to talk to Ryan and or the union steward?
I talked to him a little bit, yeah.
Will we discuss that?
I mean, I'm still would like to honor what we did, and then moving forward, the board just needs to pick a value. Seems to make sense to me to just pick 50% of the union contract. But I don't really, if it's $50, it's $50. There's no question in the future.
Well, the $50 number came from, that's what Jason was getting
Right.
when he was on call. So the new
Right.
supervisor, that would be the rate for them. And
Mike,
going forward, if
sorry. I'm
if
sorry.
the supervisor wasn't available and we needed somebody on call again, then that $50 rate would apply.
Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna dissect item number 18 on July 20th, select board minutes. On-call pay. Evan has learned that the employee filling in for the public works foreman was not receiving pay for being on call. Number one, that's a big mistake. If the employee had a problem, he should have gone to his immediate supervisor. So that is the first error right there. Evan moved to retroactively. Okay, I'm gonna read, Evan moved to retroactively pay 8 weeks on-call pay to the stand-in public works foreman. Mike said this should be brought forth using the established union process. Peter seconded this. Paul said the union contract says that if you stand in for the foreman, you get the same pay as the foreman. Evan said weekly on-call pay is in the contract. It is in the contract on page 10. It states $125 a week in the winter, not the summer. That's another error. He does not know if Ryan did receive it because he did not mark it down because of an accounting error, but it is in the contract. Okay. Mike asked for the dollar amount. Evan said 1,000. The motion was passed with me opposed. So the deal is, this should never have happened in the first place. If he'd gone maybe to his immediate supervisor, which is the town administrator, not you, then maybe the town administrator would have looked into the contract and said the previous foreman was getting $50, not $125. So really, the individual in question should be receiving $50 a week, $800, not $1,000. And to go to the union every time something comes around and talk to people. You don't talk to the union unless the union talks to you first. There's a grievance process that union employees have to follow, and then it has to go through a process. It's not the job of the select board to interfere with union contracts or get involved in making motions of paying people what they do not deserve according to the contract. Period.
Are you done grandstanding now?
Not grandstanding, but it's
No,
true.
this isn't a dissection. This is
It's a
this is you
dissection
grand.
of a comedy of errors.
I would like to clarify, which I have with you on the phone. There was no employee that called me to complain about this. It was mentioned when we were talking about something else. I
Whatever.
thought it was wrong and decided that we should do what's right to repair it. If you don't like the dollar amount, it is what it is, and I'm sorry that you don't like that. But if you want to,
Violation.
if you want to nickel and dime our employees and make this story into something it's not.
It's not
go
nickel
for it.
diming. It is the contract. You live
Yes.
by the contract.
Let's live by it. That contract says nothing about union employees being on call in the summer. Let's be done with it. No union employee should be carrying a pager at all
Fine.
in the summer.
Don't let
Is
them.
that what would make you happy?
It's fine with me.
You
If
would
it's
make
not
you-
in the
it would
contract,
make-
Don't let it. That was done from a previous form, $50.
Which was a separate contract, Mike. And it would make you happy until there was one complaint and you would be up here in the next meeting, all up in arms because we don't have anybody on call. I'll admit, I picked the 125. I would still stand by my motion, but moving forward is the question, how much per week? I'm fine with what the board picks. You can dissect every motion I make in the next meeting if you want.
Well, it was a wrong motion, and I spoke up to it. I voted against it.
No
I said it
good
was
deed goes
union
unpunished.
business. And it still is union business. We can't get in the middle of union business.
Okay,
You
let me
don't
jump,
do
let me
that.
jump in here for a minute. I think Mike has a point. There is a process that we probably should have followed and we didn't, but we didn't.
Me
The
specific,
board,
that's okay.
well, the board as a whole, we all voted. What is in the contract is $125, which the board did vote on for 8 weeks and we passed, for better or worse. John came up with the suggestion that we proceed with that and henceforth go to the $50 a week, which is what Jason was getting in the summer. I think that's a fair compromise, and we can propose that to the union, say, it's not in your current contract, it's not in our current personnel policy, so will you accept this as an interim measure just to get us through until the next union contract is ratified, whenever that is, which will reflect our new current personnel policy.
Why can't the board just admit a mistake? How difficult is that?
I made a mistake.
Then live with the mistake. Pay him $400, not $1,000. It's not right.
I'm standing by my word.
Fine. Stand by your word. I'll voice my opposition and my disappointment again to this board. It's unbelievable.
I will admit to my mistake. But I think once an employee becomes aware of a decision that we made, I don't think it's fair to go back on it. I think it is appropriate to go forward the way I've been suggesting.
Never should count your chickens before they're hatched.
And I would also just add in that I think Ryan has done a nice job of standing in as a foreman in a job that he doesn't want and didn't ask for, and he's done it very well and carried the on-call without complaint, even when he wasn't getting paid, so.
I'm not arguing any of those.
I know you're not,
Mr.
I'm just
Chairman.
saying,
I'm just arguing what is in the union contract.
and like I said, Mike, you have a point, and it's noted. I guess I'd like board consensus as to how you'd like to proceed. We voted to approve the $1,000 payment. We're suggesting an interim agreement with the union for $50. How does the board want to proceed?
I'm in favor.
I'm in favor of paying the $1,000, and you can put Eben Patch's mistake on it in the memo line if you want. And contacting with the union about an interim agreement for $50 a week. That's what the board's good with.
Okay, Mike, would you like to have a vote on that, so it's on record?
Excuse me.
Would you like to have a vote on this approach to have it on record?
Yeah. Why don't you write a check to the town for $600?
I can, Mike, if you'd like.
I wish you would, really.
Okay,
If
would
the
you like
board
to
wants to go with this.
Would you like to make a
Go right
motion?
ahead.
To proceed as we just discussed? Would you like me to?
I thought we had a motion. Did you make a motion?
No, we don't have a
Make the
motion.
motion.
My motion is to honor the $1,000 that was mentioned in the previous meeting and come up with an interim agreement with the union until we fill the foreman's position for $50 a week on call pay in the summer. There.
I'll second it.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Absolutely not. And I voiced my opposition to that and my disgust with the board.
You did.
Oh, sorry.
Put some screens on these windows.
All right.
Glenway Lane?
Okay, next item is Glenway Lane, John.
Yeah, so
Then,
Ryan brought it to my attention that when Mark was grading, he noticed that there was some slumping going on Lindway Lane. So I went down, I took some photos, and this was last week, and at the time you can see there's a couple places where it's cracking. There's a couple places where there's signs of the ground moving forward. And then I went down there today before the meeting, and there was major movement. Peter went down and took a look. You know, those cracks, if you look at the new photos that I have, end of August 3rd, the cracks are all getting wider, and there's a lot more sign of the ground's going forward. So I reached out to District 8 with V-Trans, left them a couple messages, waiting to hear back, you know, to see if they can point me in the right direction as far as engineering the bank stabilization and what do we need to do to get a permit to work in the water in a hurry.
And when I went to the edge of the bank to look over, John said, I wouldn't do that if I were you. It's bad.
You gotta get the Lamoille paddlers to give you a tour, you know?
Well, actually, Ryan went down and took some photos, and then if you look at your packet, the last page and the first one, you know, you can see nothing but tree roots, and that all the soil underneath has been eroded away.
Do we have permission to cut these trees down?
that,
They're gonna fall down.
well, we need the roots still stabilized, that's the problem.
Right.
But, so we're stuck waiting to hear from V-Trans.
I'm waiting to hear it now for V-Trans, but I just wanted the board to know that this is gonna be a major issue.
Can we,
Is that,
And who did the riprap in the other area?
Was it Boulder?
well, Percy did one section, the
Was it
last
Percy?
section, but before that, wasn't that Tetro?
Probably.
The higher section?
Look,
Is
we need to
this,
find out who did it and then. Put the bug in area.
Right.
do we need to, should we be marking this somehow?
I talked with Ryan, and he's gonna stake it and go.
do you need a motion from us to declare this? Right away emergency?
Right now, I think my goal is just to bring it to your attention. But this is gonna need some immediate action. I'm just looking to find out and get clarification as to what that action is gonna be.
Did you talk to LCPC about the freshwater?
I talked a little bit
mussels?
about it. I know Tasha had some concern about doing the riprap, because in the modeling that it showed where you riprap one section of the river, that it creates issues downstream. But I mean, I think this is a case where, you know, we definitely need to do something, and I would go with riprap.
There's other forms of stabilization though, that we could explore.
This is towards the end of Lenway Lane, right?
Yeah, it's probably
Mhm.
2/3 down.
Yeah. For the other forms. AJ,
What'd you say?
what
Sorry.
are the other forms of stabilization?
Well, I don't know all off the top of my head, but like putting,
Vegetation, you want?
yeah, vegetation, putting in like trees. And I don't know. Asking river
I think
keeper.
talking to LCP is a good idea, yeah, them in the mix of who we're talking to. I think you have the consensus of the board that this is a right away safety concern, needs to be dealt with urgently, so.
Now let's inject concrete like the foolish state did up the road. Which is already sagging. They just should have dug it down and rocked it. It would have been simpler, cheaper too.
So if you find something out, we need to have an emergency meeting or something, take
Yep.
action. Let us know. Yep. Okay. Next item, updated personnel policy.
Well, I know we've been working on the personnel policy. And I wanted to talk to the board about going forward with call-in pay. I know there was a bunch of issues that they talked about. That we still need to work on, but like I was talking to you, Paul, you know, the concern about making the 125 a week, going forward, that, you know, if we just put it in the personnel policy, that it's gonna be $50 per week, then next time that issue comes up, we'll have it in the personnel policy.
Okay, so that's the only change you're
That's the only
proposing at
change,
this
yeah.
time.
Yeah, that's the only change I want to talk to the board about tonight.
To be very truthful, I'm very surprised that the union contract does not address that already, which it actually should, but it is probably to our favor that it doesn't. But getting back to one individual being on call constantly, that is not fair to him. Now, on call should be shared by all employees, not just one.
Hasn't it historically been the foreman who's on call and the supervisor on call and the?
It still shouldn't be only just one. Everybody rotates in most other utilities. On call is a rotating deal. You can't expect somebody to be on call, basically 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
It's not fair,
Yeah.
not fair to them. And the business about asking the other employees whether they want to do it or not really should be not even a discussion. All should share the burden. Period.
Well, I don't know if this is how it is, but I feel like it should be like where the foreman receives the on-call and then see who can fulfill the on-call need.
A lot of times it is. In the summer.
What's that?
A lot of times it is in the summer.
Passed around.
Well, like the calls are all received by the foreman, but he might be out with his family or what have you. Ask around, can somebody go clear this tree?
You got a man who lives in Eden. On call all the time, not fair. No.
Okay. Back to the personnel policy. That's the only change we made. I assume-
That's the only one I want to talk to the board tonight about.
I assume there's questions.
There were some questions last week, or last meeting that we thought maybe follow up on tonight, so just. Regrettably, we weren't here for the other two meetings.
Just wanted to be here to clear up any questions that you didn't have the answers to.
We haven't discussed the bank idea and the buyouts of all that any further. So.
You said Riot?
Trip back here.
You say Riot?
What we have is our question. What was relayed to you last time about what we currently have was not. Accurate.
Meaning what?
Yeah, what part?
There was follow-up about short-term disability pay, having the board or having the town pay for short-term disability versus having us have a second bank, which instead of sick bank, I'd like to refer to it as short-term disability. It's not like if you have a cough, you can use, 40 hours of it. And then there was also a discussion about long-term disability, which the town currently does pay for, and we do have. Yes.
Right, insurance, the town has insurance.
That's the part we were misinformed on that I,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I found it in the budget and it's buried, but apparently we are way under budgeting for it. The
It's
difference-
very.
Yeah, but like,
$125.
yeah, but in our budget spreadsheet, we're like
125.
way under that.
That's really reasonable. Actually,
if for all the employees. Yeah, I know it's really.
For all of the
Yeah,
employees
it's
or
really-
per employee?
No, it's really.
Oh, wow. Okay, maybe we're not that far up.
It's really.
I saw 125 and I'm going 125 per employee.
some businesses
Seven
pay
people.
40% of their pay into disability.
Sounds lucky.
Also,
We're lucky in lots of ways.
left, no one has anything in their bank except the combined time off. That's the only bank anyone has hours in.
The first,
Those other two banks, no one has hours
So it'd be easy to nix those.
in. Would be.
well, with the discussion about short-term disability, because that second bank could also be used like if I got pregnant right now. I would have to use my whole CTO bank, which is what, 6 weeks, 5 weeks? Then that would be more help for after, I mean,
But nobody has hours in it,
that's right.
so they're not using
They're
the
not doing it.
potential as their own version of short-term disability.
That's correct.
Yeah, my thinking is that I don't, in my personal opinion, this is not the reflection of other employees. I don't think we need the catastrophic bank. It's not valuable to anyone because it's essentially long-term disability. The second bank is valuable if we don't have a short-term disability policy for employees like we do long-term disability. And the first bank, in my opinion, should say this.
Can you say it again? I miss you,
So the third bank is the catastrophic bank,
Right,
which is
right.
after you've exhausted every other bank, which again,
Right.
nobody has. That's essentially long-term disability.
which we have insurance for. Right, okay.
So my opinion is to get rid of that one, plus we don't pay it out anyway, when somebody leaves. The second bank is valuable if somebody does have it and needs it, but I think that a short-term disability policy would be much more beneficial to the employees. Because you have to earn all that time in that bank before you can access it. And you have to use up all your current.
Typically, you have to pay for some of the short-term disability insurance. So it's,
But that was a follow-up from last meeting,
Yeah.
was there a quote from VLCT on that short-term disability?
we have not got one yet.
No.
Yeah,
And then again, so it would either be, my preference would be to have a short-term disability policy instead of the second bank, honestly, because the second bank is not achievable for most people to fill unless you're here for 44 years. And have a short-term disability policy and keep the first bank the way it is.
okay, thank you. None of those are for discussion tonight. So you're, I don't know if that makes you rest
Thank you.
easier or not, but
Rest easier.
Well, so we add an agenda item next meeting to possibly remove some of those, or?
well, I think we need to. get,
Well, it's in the
you know,
personnel
we'll
policy.
See what the rates are and then the personnel policy. But
Okay.
yes, it should be on our work list at least. Anything else?
A couple questions. I think my eyes must have been glazing over the first time I looked at this. On page 12, under
have the packets.
under political activity, an employee shall not interfere with or affect the nominations or election of any candidate for public office in the town of Johnson. Shouldn't that be any place, not just limited to the town of Johnson?
What does it say? I'm sorry, read it again.
An employee shall not use his or her official authority for the purpose of interfering with or affecting the nominations or election of any candidate for public office in the town of Johnson.
Translate that. What does that mean that you can't do? Can you,
So if
can you circulate a petition for somebody? Can you speak on their behalf? Can you endorse them?
They shouldn't be.
Okay, I take it back because it starts with use their official authority. So, you know, I was thinking of town employees somehow interfering with
National election.
16, page 16.
yeah,
He's looking at the personnel policy.
but using their official authority.
But not- no.
That's entirely different. So moving on to my other question.
Okay,
On page 24 about drug testing.
No, he printed it
Yeah,
out and brought it.
Oh. Drug testing, number 2, employees who are found to be using illegal drugs or alcohol on the job will be subject to immediate dismissal. I'd kind of like to see using it on the job or instead of that under the influence or both. But we don't want somebody under the influence
That's why it's
while they're on the job.
That's why it's grounds for dismissal.
So they
Yeah.
they can be having beer, that's okay? As long as they're not drunk?
Who are found to be using illegal drugs or alcohol. On the job, somebody could come to work
You should almost have to add
under the
marijuana
influence.
to that now, because it's a legal drug.
But there's medical marijuana.
So
It's for my gloves.
Someone could come to work under the influence of alcohol. This
Oh.
does not address that.
should be included in addition to, or added in there, not in place of. So, okay,
In the interest of tonight.
Tonight.
Can you get those all written down?
Sure,
We're
okay.
just talking about the $50 thing tonight.
Yep, all
Yeah.
right, I'm done.
And then you could send those to me and.
Yep.
I can tell you with the drugs and alcohol, 1977, I started more so water and light. All of the salesmen would bring bottles of hooch in, and they'd be all over a table. And at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, everybody would break for the company Christmas party. And by the time that was finished, everybody would be fired.
just think how much more fun the meetings would be.
Yeah.
But I bet you $100 they don't do that today.
We'll bet you more than that.
All right, personnel policy, anything further on that?
No, no, that was just to add, $50.
Thank you for coming back.
Thank you.
Updated procurement.
Yeah, so at the last meeting, they talked about, well, there's a couple things. One, if you look at the second page under section 5, purchasing authority, we did not have the treasurer. So, you
Yeah.
know, when Rosemary was here, the town clerk kind of covered everything, but now we have Lydia. So I want to ask the board to add her as a purchasing authority.
Mhm.
And then the next item is under bid opening. I made a few changes and see if the board likes that wording or if they want to recommend.
Honestly, I like the wording and I am at 99% of making a motion to approve this.
Okay.
I'm biting myself in the backside because I wanted to ask Carl if we make these changes now, if that affects the industrial park bid. He has an existing procurement policy and he has an existing right to go outside it in a motion, but if we change it, I think the feds follow that close enough.
Well, isn't this what he did when he opened bids last time was he opened them up
Could we
outside
give
of a meeting?
prior to this?
Right.
Right, this is, the wording's perfect, in my opinion. I just don't know if we change the procurement policy now or if we wait until the industrial park bids are in. Because I don't want it to be a snafu.
Well, you're really thinking it through, so thank you for that. Personally, I think we gave him permission to go outside the procurement policy that was in effect when we made that decision. So I think we're covered.
Okay.
If we change it after the fact, I think that's okay, but that's just my read.
So do you want to keep it till after bids or you want me to run this by Carl?
I think if my opinion matters for anything, run it by Carl.
Yep.
We can stamp this at the next meeting if it's not gonna throw a snafu in his.
Yep.
I mean, he's dealing with NVRC.
Yep, good, you're good, you're right, good point.
I should have asked him when he was here.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, really. Messed up.
All right,
Thanks, Evan.
Mike's item.
we tabled the events committee, so we are
Can you
up
invite
to a
them?
conversation of one meeting per month discussion. Mike, fire away.
Well, many years ago, it was my bright idea to have 2 meetings in a month.
It's here,
It was my bright idea. Maybe there's one time that the board went along with me, maybe they thought we shouldn't have. But anyway, I did that because I thought, and I guess the rest of the board did, that we could tighten up our meetings, maybe get out of here a lot quicker. You know what I mean? Maybe not have quite so much stuff on each agenda. But it seems like there's just as much stuff on every agenda as there was then for one meeting. And, you know, there is talk about people don't eat before they come. We could have one meeting a month and have pizza or something. A lot of boards have a little luncheon before they start their meeting, you know? We could think of something like that. But I think that we have enough things to go to in the evenings without coming here 2 times a month. If we could consolidate it back to 1 time a month, I would have no problem with that. I don't know how the rest of the board feels, if they need to keep with the 2 board per month deal, or try it once a month for a while. The problem was that, you know, we used to get done at 10:30, 11, 11:30. Once in a while, we'd be here till 12. On a
Yeah, there
one-
was some crazy
one-
meetings back then.
Once a month. But, you know, a lot of times there's prep to come to these meetings. We get here early. You know, the meetings always do a little chit chatting on the way out, everything else. Why don't we try it once a month? For a while. See how it goes. I just thrown it out there.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get ticked if nobody goes along with me or not. I got that out of my system. this evening. So, no more. For tonight, that is.
I feel like there's two. I was never on the board when it was 1 meeting a month. Just seems like every year since I've been on the board, there's been more going on. I don't know if that's a result of 2 meetings a month, that's a result of Johnson's growth. I think it'd be tough to do it once a month. I'm open to doing it once a month, we just need to have a better means of approving orders more than once a month. So if we get a Johnny come lately and then we're paying a late fee on an invoice because we're only meeting once a month, I would think that.
Now, have any of the other board members watched other towns for the fun of it? How they do things?
For the fun of it, no, curiosity maybe.
Well, curiosity and the fun of it, maybe the wrong choice of words, but the deal is that you watch some of these boards. Now, I don't know whether they do a lot of talking behind the scenes or what, but it seems like they really, some of them really move along.
Mhm.
I mean, they're bang, 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 and it's over with.
I can tell you.
How do they do that?
When I was on the Long Island Fire Minute Board for a number of years, and it was very much like that. We did everything behind the scenes, conversation, all the motions were written out ahead of time, but we had very little public. It was a whole different ball of wax. It was much more efficient in the meetings themselves, took a ton of work outside of this, but also it did limit the ability of any public to contribute. We never had any public contributing anyway, so it didn't match. But I don't know, when we make the agenda, it's hard to keep it under 20 items as it is. I don't. Once a month sounds pretty awful.
Yeah, I've watched a couple Morristown select board meetings recently, actually. And I think that it's pretty fast because they have a town manager for one, and then they also have a full-time CES, and they have more other full-time employees, I'm assuming, so they have more going on behind the scenes in that regard. So I think that's one of the differences.
So I just get reports from people like the village meetings are pretty short.
A town.
Well, yeah.
A town manager form of government removes an incredible amount from this side of things. You pretty much fire a town manager, right?
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
village actually has a town administrator form of government, they're a manager in title.
You know, village manager, they have.
It's an administrative form of government, they could get it changed if they went before.
They would have an even shorter meeting if you didn't have to have so-and-so change the light bulb. You know, in the bathroom, and, you know, the whole list that they put down there that, you know what I mean?
I like the idea, but it's practicality of it scares the hell out of me.
What'd you say about the elevator?
I like the idea, but the practicality of it, the length of the meetings that would result scares the hell out of me.
We start at 5.
That's what I was gonna say, can we at least move to 6? Because our special meetings are at 6, so I don't know why this isn't at 6 as well.
I can do that. I mean, if you guys want to, I can. I mean, my preference is 6:30 because it's hard for me to get here, but I can get here at 6.
Well, I don't wanna make your life
There's
harder.
not to be sneak out, so, okay.
You're saying you'd like to try it at 6?
Yeah,
Start at 6 and get up a bit earlier.
It won't. We used to start at 7 and we get it at the same time. I moved it at 6:30. Get it at the same time.
At 6 o'clock, at least, I'd like to.
I'd rather stick with 6:30.
6:30 is better for you
okay.
to get here.
You say stick with 6:30?
Should we get him away from Mondays? Is that a problem?
That sets you up for the rest of the week. We feel beat up on Tuesday morning, but it's good to get them.
It's a good feeling, going to work in pain. I guess this item's closed.
I'd rather have 2 shorter meetings than 1 exceedingly long meeting. That's what I would worry about, is that it would just be.
Yeah. And it's kind of nice to keep the drumbeat going on things too, even though these were revisiting something sometimes, which is annoying, but.
Yeah, and John would have to wait longer for a responsive thing, or Lydia, or whoever.
Right.
You gotta look at it this way too, we don't have to deal with each other once a month.
So I just want to say, I appreciate you venting, and not that you ever do hold back, but saying how you really feel. We done? I don't care. I also want to just say, appreciate you taking, like, we should be able to have frank conversations, and I disagree, I think you're wrong. That's part of being here. And I think, I appreciate both of you saying so.
It's one problem. I'm never wrong.
Well, there is that. All right, so we are
Yeah,
at the end of the
check.
meeting
We ending?
at 9:16.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you all. Good night. Well, no, I'm serious. I mean.
Thank you, Bob, appreciate it.